Futures downside sharply here so far this morning. Second straight morning we get this gap to the downside on these continued tensions throughout the Middle East. 20% of global oil supply now completely shut off. We have crude to the upside in a big way this morning. WTI through $74. We had Brent crude above $84, up more than 20% itself in just over a week. So energy names definitely going to be on watch once again this morning as we look to any sort of calm potentially to come from this. Doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. However, we are getting, disregard that candle right now, we are getting some D prints going off. So wide-ranging candles so far this morning. That's how the Nasdaq looks right now. The S&P 500, much of the same. 2 days in a row, two gaps to the downside. We had that quick reversal right out of the gate, if you remember, yesterday morning. It was straight higher for everything. Whether we see that again this morning remains to be seen, but it seems a little more negative this morning than it did even yesterday. Oh yeah, we're down a lot more this morning. Let's see if we get bought up again, but it doesn't look good. Embassy getting attacked, the Strait of Hormuz, as you mentioned, Brendo, all but blocked. We'll have to see how that all operates. President Trump, you know, basically vowing retaliation on that, so the escalation's coming in. But there are other things to talk about, of course, than the belligerencies in the Middle East. A lot of reporting this morning, Brendo, as we're at the tail end, you want to call it, of earnings season, but we got a lot of retail today. ONON, I know you're a fan. Target, Best Buy. You got Riot, Archer reporting. So there's no shortage of actual market things to talk about. It's interesting with earnings season, as you said, wrapping up. We are still getting nice moves like Best Buy, one of those. Nice move to the upside here. All the volume, though, is elsewhere. All the volume this morning is definitely not in earnings plays. This is very, very light right now. Up huge here for BBY to $70 at the high on a nice beat. So people still out there buying electronics, apparently, in you know, an economy that might not be the best for, you would think, anyways, for sales of big screen TVs and smartphones. I mean, maybe smartphones is the only thing that is good for them at this point. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, the consumer's been squeezed, right? I was actually reading a little bit yesterday about delinquencies, and the delinquencies for 30-day credit card missed payments as well as car payments ticking up, not by a lot. We're not even close to great financial crisis levels, but it is inching up little by little, and that's something to keep an eye on, especially for consumer discretion. Have you looked at some of these consumer discretionary ETFs? Yeah. Compare that to the staples. I was doing a little Michael Mossing last night with these chart ETFs. I'm like, I might as well. Careful with that. Yeah, I know, right? It gets a little addictive. No, but seriously though, the discretionary and the staples, they're not looking alike at all. No. So that is something to note. Amazon, on that note, Amazon downside here with the overall market today, but interesting note on this Anthropic and Claude and the government that we kind of hinted at the end of last week. We sat here and basically said, how fast is Sam Altman going to jump all over this opportunity? And here we are. Here it is. You know, taking, you know, one goes out, the other one just fits right in. See him try to walk it back a little bit, though, where there's tweet. He's like, oh, you know, the opportunity was there, and we've had to kind of readjust some of the terms of service. He's trying to do the same thing that Anthropic was doing. I don't think that the Department of War is going to have it. So unless he's saying something publicly and then agreeing to something else in private, you wonder if he's going to get the same response from Secretary Hegseth. Right. I mean, I don't know. What's the difference here? Let's see. Let's see how that relationship pans out. The one thing to take from this, though, is, and the definite in this, is that there's massive demand, obviously, throughout the entire government. It's not just one or two different departments that are using this. No. It's throughout the entire government. And you saw Secretary Bessent come out yesterday. You're going to see this from probably the heads of each department coming out and saying, based on President Trump's instructions, we're no longer using Anthropic's Claude in the Department of I don't know what they call it. What do they call it? The Treasury? Yeah, because here it's the Department of Finance. Yeah, It's a little different. But yeah, you're going to probably see that department by department coming out and saying that. We'll wait to see. Not much on the economic calendar to concern ourselves with today. A little bit of Fed speak, but nothing in the way of significant releases. 9:55, Williams set to come through. 11:55, then that Kashkari guy set to make some comments today as well, guys. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Not a good morning for the markets. I think it's a different feel from yesterday. Like we're down. It's good that we've already bounced a little bit over the overnight lows, but it feels a little bit worse because we had that relief rally yesterday. certainly. Well, congratulations if you had any of those small cap oil stocks or energy stocks. I don't even know if they're all oil stocks, like Battle or that TPT or whatever it is, or TPET. Indo, like this thing's up another 100%. So they're going to be in play. Almost all the small cappers yesterday were all these weird energy names with the small floats, and there's some big ones. Mongo got moked, so the SaaS story still looks like it's going to be relatively weak. There were a bunch of earnings, maybe not as many movers as you would think, as there was a few under the double-digit mark. You have to go, as I said, to ONON moving around, and BBY as well. Both double digits in opposite directions. This one to the downside, 12%. But yeah, there's even negative news with the chips, right? So you got NVIDIA down a couple points, AMD down a couple of points as potential restrictions in China, adding to the weight that's already on the overall market. So we're gonna be looking at some A and B today. But yeah, it does feel a little bit different. Just, I don't know, like I would have came in today kind of thinking if we're close to flat, that wouldn't be a bad sign, but the fact that we gave up so much of the
Randy.
Randy with the banana delivery. See, that's the one thing you can count on. The world's going to turmoil, but it doesn't matter. We can always get some potassium in us.
Yeah, or pears. I like the pears.
The pears were really good, actually.
No, this is last week. I think one day you brought pears. They were
They were?
really good. Yeah, it's okay. No, pears is fine.
I won't say no. I'm not going to say no.
Yeah, NVIDIA here down 1.8%, and there is some dark pools happening, so we're going to have to watch out for all that. Yeah, Big Bear AI actually was close to turning EPS positive. We talked about that, 1 cent away from that. We are excited to see if that could get going today. It's not yet, down 5%. Started going there a little bit and then flushed, and with the market being down 2%, this name will be tough today, but we'll talk about Big Bear AI. I think it was actually decent. Looks like they could be turning the corner on that, although the guide a little bit underneath what we were expecting there. Silver, I think, is going to be a short again. I mean, it's so funny because yesterday we lost. We were going short early and thinking that something like this might have happened, and then we rebounded the whole way. And now today we look again, silver down 9%. Not great. We'll look to short that. I just wrote down $80 short. That's a key level. We're watching this 200 period, 79 and change, so it's not going to get to 80, but we'll watch out to see if that does happen. And then yesterday, we were also looking at some Tesla. We'll see if what that can do. Now below 400 again. We had that 400 break yesterday, which was a great one, as we broke back through yesterday, and that made some highs, 405, 406. And now today, you're right back into those lows from yesterday. Again, yesterday in the pre-market is what we'll have to look at there. It's kind of battling around. This is 394. So we'll see if we get into here 390, 391 or so for Tesla. See if we get some bounce action there. But yeah, names not going well. Oh yeah, and then Target. So finally,
Retail's good.
Yeah, retail's been good, man. And we switched over some of our positioning into Target, last October, November. And this stock has been an absolute monster. Since, this has been a great story. We're long down into here, and so there it goes, finally back up to these levels. I sold some last time. Excuse me, it was up into this area. This is like a 3% dividend as well. So Best Buy also with a dividend, which is nice to see. So that's going to be another name here that continues to work out well. But I just want to bring everybody's attention. Like when Brendan brought up Best Buy and like how well it's doing, it's only back to where it was maybe 2 weeks ago. So it's just like you got to just be careful with where we're at on some of these names. They've gotten hit so bad, and now it's just made a nice move up. But still, it doesn't matter. Where we came from is one thing. Where we're going is another. And right now, Target and Best Buy both heading a little northbound right there. And then yeah, man, it's those big stocks again. The big moves on the small stocks, man. This BATL. It's like you just had to make a position on that last week, and then you're laughing now. $4 up to $27. Just keeps on going. Yeah, look,
there's one of them that isn't oil now, though. Yeah. So we got a new one, MobX, because apparently there's no such thing as halfway crooks when it comes to MobX. So we're thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That stock is a shook one.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Sharif knows. No, but there's actually a good piece of news here. It's not related to oil, but it is related to defense. So this is a defense name. They landed MobX. Let's just call it MobX. Lands a major U.S. Navy Tomahawk missile production order for high reliability filtering components. So that's the headline. The small cappers, good luck if you found a small capper that was running yesterday that wasn't related to the conflict in Iran. But yeah, so Tomahawk agreement here. It's kind of at that 50-cent mark. When you look at the daily chart, it's a habitual line stepper, right? Like pop and drop has basically been the name of the game of this thing. So you don't know how big the continuation might be, but we saw what happened to some of the energy ones yesterday, going absolutely ham.
Having a little bit of a coffee.
Hey, see?
Here.
Now we got a pair for later. It's freezing cold.
Nice pair. Nice.
It's like it came out of the fridge. It's so cold.
I like cold pairs.
My daughter won't eat them if they're not like.
Oh yeah.
They got to be soft. She only likes the soft.
Yeah, these ones
pair.
are pretty good.
These ones are me. I'm indifferent. I don't care. I'm all good either way.
Okay. All right. Will oil be up? Yeah, I think oil's going to be up today. SCLJ, right? We've already sort of.
Pulled
I looked at this. Some of the oil, the gas prices around here getting a little spicy. I noticed 140 a liter, $1.40 a liter around here right now. Up another 7% today is oil. So there we go, man. And my position XLE working out well as well. That just keeps on going higher. I mean, most of these things will keep on chugging there. We had XOM with a little bit of a pullback there into 150, now up to 156. So that's actually doing quite well as well. Yeah, yesterday we didn't react the way I thought maybe it would have yesterday as well as it should have. But there's the pull down, and not 150, I guess 153. Now up to 156, so we definitely like the way XOM's looking over here. But yeah, should be a violent day, I would think, today in the market. Names, some of these Palantir is going to be down. This whole Nasdaq trade is going to be lower. I was just thinking, like, if we are thinking about a pop, maybe we do get something in a Palantir type name. But I think it's going to be hard to find bids today, to be honest with you. I mean, look how bad the Nasdaq was overnight. Like it got pretty bad here. This is 4 or 5 a.m. So we could revisit. Like, we don't want to, obviously. That's 24.6 right now on the Nasdaq. That little bottom is 24.380. We could see if we retest that. That would be interesting. Maybe we can go long if we find some buyers down there. But for right now, it's a little sad face morning. That is for sure. If you're long anything. So oil space hot. Other than that, not. You know what? I saw silver was down that badly. Gold is a much better hedge. It seems like right now.
It's a safer place to be
than
long.
Silver. Yeah. So gold's still down. See, this is what I mean. You can't even hide here. Gold down 3, silver down 6. Should be an interesting trade today, or down. Sorry, gold down, silver down 9, right there. Oh boy, yeah. I don't think there's going to be too many bids here today. I've only written down silver short, but I got to find some more trades here. Yeah, maybe we're sitting on your hands a little bit to see what happens, because yesterday I was thinking short, and the market ripped early. So
yesterday required some patience and looking at the right plays. That's why, like, I'm actually looking at some day 2 type of stuff too, like the continuation on what worked. Like, here's the way I see it is, if you're thinking short today, like, why not start with things that were not that strong yesterday on the bounce? So like, I go back to like the cruise lines, like NCLH didn't really ever break out that opening range high. See, all those deep prints there. Way more yesterday, into that 22.8, like multiple times. Their guide was poor, so they had earnings, and you have the travel space going to be weak, so I want to look to short a pop in a name like that. Then you look over, like you look at like AMD, it's strong, but it basically just filled in the gap in the prior low and then didn't really do much else with it, and has its own news story again, like AMD and NVIDIA have a negative news story. So patience will be required. I think I liked it to 95 because that's where the breakout point was. So this one requires some patience, but if it was weak yesterday and didn't really rip your face off, I think that might be a solid place to start with for at least for some short ideas out here. And then we haven't really talked about Bitcoin to start, because it was a big reversal yesterday in iBid Bitcoin, but we got to 70K and that was it. So you can say whatever you want. One of the lines I was using in the afternoon was, don't be doing any dances or celebrations over this bounce, because a lot of things just kind of came back to some resistance, filled in some gaps, and didn't push through. That's exactly what Bitcoin did. Right back to 70, almost identical failure at 70. Look what happened the last time it did this. It effectively plunged the next day. I mean, it was end of the week, but effectively plunged the next day. So that $68,000 level is going to be key. If we can't get through that, why wouldn't it just resume its regularly scheduled programming, which has been a sell?
Yeah, The battle has stopped
Offering probably.
right now, so watch out, man. 28 bucks right here. Halted. You don't normally get these halts in the pre-market. That means it had to have been requested by the company. So, yeah, get ready for a potential share offering, I would think, if they...
Yeah, it's always that.
Secondary coming, yeah. If they had to file to list, why not do it today, right? They're going to get a much better price than they would have last week, around $3 or $4. So watch out here. This is going to create, hopefully, a lower bid and then pop right back up for those of you that are not in this name. This could be a good opportunity to get into it. Let's see what winds up happening right now on BATL. I know it's a name that there's a lot of you guys interested in here on the chat. I don't remember the last time the Nasdaq opened up down 2%. So it's going to be an interesting day here, gentlemen. With battle halted, you guys seeing anything up there? I just heard Sharif say secondary, but I don't know if that's official yet or.
Yeah, no.
I'm still seeing news pending. I don't know if you. That's what I'm seeing.
That's typically what happens with these. Anytime for anyone seeing that for the first time, as Sean was mentioning, if a stock halts in the pre-market, it's requested by the company, so it's a news halt. At this point, we'll keep an eye out for that. Another one that we talked about right off the top here, just made a new low here for ONON, down to 40 bucks, trying to bounce off 40 bucks right now. The earnings call is on right now, so there were a couple of comments coming through that I saw that essentially triggered this second leg to the downside. Overall, the number is actually not bad here.
Yeah.
Even the guide was okay.
The guide was good.
They said they're going to open more stores this year. They said tariffs coming off was, a bonus that's going to affect the bottom line in a good way. So, yeah, I mean, we're down, but not sure why.
I'm not sure why either. And the headline on the morning note denotes that, guys. On holding sinks despite record sales and a strong guide. And that's reality. They reported Q4 net sales of was up 30.6% year over year in constant currency. They expect their full year sales to surpass the street's expectations. They're guiding 2026 net sales with at least 23% increase on the top line number, again in constant currency. What else? Sell side consensus was closer to 3.7 billion. Adjusted EBITDA coming in at 18.5 to 19%, and they remain one of the fastest growing, Brendo, premium athletic brands globally. The growth is supported by that DTC, the direct-to-consumer push that they've been taking completely contrary to what Nike is doing. They're flipping. They're going back to that wholesale kind of thing that we've talked about with Dick's Sporting Goods, with Foot Locker, with that acquisition between those two. And you're not seeing that from this company, and that means that they're maintaining their margins. I don't know why they're being made to pay.
It might just be the overall conditions of the market here, but we're right back to 40 bucks, which if you zoom out on this thing, comes into play quite frequently here. So you can see why we're basically right back to the middle of the range on a weekly chart since this thing has come public. So potentially, if the market was to bounce here, there's not too many negatives about this report today.
No, not really.
No, we have a different number in our watch list. We have company guided revenues 4.3 compared to estimates 4.6. So that would be it's a less guide there on forward 26, which would make sense. I mean, that's why I got my cloud monsters on right now. So I've got the ons on here. They're so super comfortable. So I mean, I'm wearing a pair of these right here right now. But what you were saying. Back into 40 bucks. Yeah, I just don't, there's so many strong retail names here. I just don't know if, the manufacturing sort of side of, the shoe business or clothing business. We could check out some, AEO or ANF or something like that to see what's going on in the store side of things. I've never even really seen an on store. I mean, I know they obviously exist. I got mine online, and you can buy them at Sporting Life and, different spaces here in Canada. I'm sure they're in Dick's Sporting Goods or whatever in the States as well. But yeah, I like to switch over if they're going to focus a little bit on online sales. I think that's an easy way, especially with AI. You can really start to focus on what specific needs are. They have many different models of shoe as well, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, Swiss company getting hit there. Could also be maybe potentially strong U.S. dollar bringing that money back in. Could be having an effect on as well, but still down 14% there. Yeah, just to your point, I haven't even looked at Nike recently, but they were battling back a little bit. I don't know what the price. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't even know if 60 is any good. Oh, my charts are frozen, I think, but
Well,
there it is on the weekly for all.
Well, I was going to say one on the weekly, which to me looks, forget about 40, looks much better in the mid-30s, just based on this. And like it doesn't look that bad, the report, but it's like ball doesn't lie. But for Nike, I know like you were saying, Nike has been trying. Like ON's been doing much better. That's why I would be more inclined to look over there, give it the 3-day rule. But if it does see the mid-30s, that's been a great spot for ON. Nike, who the heck knows, for a related name. It just... There's nothing about this one that's looked good. I mean, you're under the 200 period on the monthly. It's been trending down. ON's been a winner. Nike's been a loser for quite some time, it looks like. But let's go look at some options plays with our good friend Joe. Baldhead Gang.
Oh, all right, man. Ballhead Gang. All right, guys, good morning. Let's take a look at some of the activity. Yeah, we're just waiting for Katina Man to join here. Other than that, guys, no, all fun and games. Let's see what we got in the world of derivatives here. A lot of activity yesterday, a strong rally and a recovery after a gap down after the 4 a.m. open. We had a strong rally in Bitcoin. This morning we had given back the majority of that. But let's take a look at that $40 mark, guys. That's going to be open interest. The open interest there sitting around 18,800, and then the volume around 23,800. You can see we're sitting on a $3 spread, and that's going to be expiring. The 27th is incorrect. That's going to be this week, okay? So this Friday. I don't know why that's incorrect. But anyways, aside from that, Delta sitting at that $38 metric, so that should be February, not last month, all right? Sorry, March, sorry, not last month. Gamma, 16 here, and then your at-the-money IV sitting around 57.3%. And there we go, this is correct. Tesla on the March 6 expiration cycle. Quite a ways away from here, but this is where I've seen the most amount of activity, and we're going to see a lot of the positive gamma. Open interest at that $425 mark, sitting around 13,600, and then volume around 10,700. A $3 spread, that's not bad. And then if we're talking about our Greek metrics here, the Vega, relatively cool for Tesla currently. 44.4%. We have that 12 delta because it's so far out of the money, so you're really not exposed to your rate of change. And same thing with your gamma here. Its rate of change, not too bad whatsoever either. But let's pull up the actual contract itself and see, because it's a little bit more difficult, and then we can get in more depth on what we got going on with this specific contract and see just the decay, how volatility affects it, and a couple other cool things. All right, so we'll pull this up, 425. March 6th. 5. Sorry for that. And here we go. We shall see it now. Ta-da! So you can see from a 1-minute standpoint, and we'll head over to the 5-minute. Not very liquid, but then you go to the higher time frame. You can see the liquidity step in. This was yesterday's rally, so you get a solid return here, right? I mean, this is the latter half of the day. You peak around, what is this, around $1.40, which isn't horrible whatsoever. And from the 9:30 start, you do get over 118% return in that one contract, right? Where $64 trades up to $141. And then we'll take a look at the 4-hour time frame here. You can also just see the decay. We do this quite often and just look that over time that some of these contracts, they will never regain their value. So as of January 22nd, all the way to yesterday, you have a 97% decrease in this options contract's value, something that goes a worth of $3,500 to only $100. So there's Theta, guys.
Thanks as always, Joe. And well, Tesla, I know you mentioned Tesla there.
Yeah, I like Tesla today.
It's holding, if there's something that's holding up, it's at the 200 again.
Yeah, that's
200 SMA on the daily. So there is that. Like, it's one of the few things that's holding on top of support, which when you're down 2%, it gives you something to go by. The market's down 2%, it's also down 2%. So, not to get that twisted. And the ES is only down 1.5, so the S&P is only 1.5%. But you're basically what the Nasdaq is down and trying to bounce off. I mean, this is also where the ramp job started yesterday. So it's like a willingness to buy it in the 390 in front of that 200 period. I think you could do worse than looking for something like that. Again, I just saw in the chat a couple people saying, it was a Y note saying, what happened to gold? There wasn't nothing crazy just now, but overall, I mean, the metals made their lows in the early AM. Like if you're looking at gold, if you're looking at silver, along with the rest of the market, like all of those bottoms got put in before 7 o'clock. So, and they've actually been gravitating on the way back. It was like this morning when you woke up and saw the blood moon, depending on where you were, you saw the blood moon. I don't know if you can still see it. I think it was like, for us, it was like from 6 to 7 o'clock or something like that.
Today.
Yeah, but then during that time, that's when the market was looking at its absolute worst. That's the weird thing is we're like everything is down. Silver down 8%, gold down, Nasdaq down 2%, and that's after we've bounced off of some of those lows, which makes it feel a little bit different. But to the point about gold and silver, in this particular case, they just sold with the market overnight as it was almost risk off everywhere. There's some spike in oil as well. And to the other side of that equation, you know, when the market's been bouncing a little bit here and you've seen silver and gold with a bit of a bounce, oil futures slightly back from some of their highs, but not that far. Like they're actually holding up pretty well. One of the things I'll be looking for specifically on Oxy is right from the jump yesterday, Occidental held underneath the volume weighted average price. I mean, immediately, and then just showed resistance the whole way. There was never any buyers in control. And you're seeing a similar, like right now in the pre-market, you've been underneath view up the whole pre-market and then showing signs of trying to break above. If some of the oil names start holding that volume weighted average price unlike yesterday, I think that's where the strength can come in. So that's the key measure. I'm not even looking at price today for Oxy. Just gonna wanna see after the open if it can hold on to VWAP for a little bit of strength, something it couldn't do all day yesterday. I haven't seen any news on that battle yet, but for anyone that's wondering, like right now, if you go to like the Nasdaq trade halt, it does just say halt news pending. It's still T1. So a lot of times you'll see like go from T1, T2 or 3 when like the news is out there or has been disseminated, and then you would get a resumption time. So anyone looking at BATL, we don't know specifically or for sure what the halt reason is. It could be an offering, it might not, but there's not even a resumption time as of yet. Anything happens, and we'll obviously let you guys know. And some of the other energy-related small cappers that we're running don't seem to be taking it that badly. Like I looked at that TPET to see if it was tanking on sympathy, but it's not doing much. It's actually relatively flat. So it's not actually falling apart while BATL is halted.
Right. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what we want to do. I mean, the Nasdaq is still okay. It's not like it's completely out of line. I mean, we kind of are just right where we were sort of yesterday before bouncing. You know, we have that low wick there, and then we took off. But like you're at a level here. This is what's making like nervous. Like you're about to go all the way back into September levels right here. Again, and you know, possibly looking to drop out through this 200 period will be 588, 590 on the Qs. This goes all the way back to that November low. We were talking about 580 right there. That should be a spot where we could potentially bounce. I mean, President Trump's talking about 4 to 5 weeks of this, and then we heard yesterday, you know, drones hitting. What was it in Saudi Arabia? They were hitting some U.S. embassies there. So it's not, you know, this is not great news. And these drones, Brendan was mentioning to me that these drones aren't very expensive, but these missiles that are hitting them out of the sky are. And at some point here, the U.S. and Israel and everything, I mean, I don't know if we run out of ammunition. Like, I have no idea what those stockpiles look like, but war is expensive, and it's about to get even more expensive as these weeks and months hopefully don't drag on, but it looks like apparently could. You know, this 4 to 5 week talk definitely hurts. And then I think Iran's had, like, when will oil start running through? Like, it's a good thing that the United States has a little, it might be a few weeks, and it's a good thing there's some sort of oil independence a little bit there for the United States. And
not for everyone in Asia, there isn't.
That's the thing.
Not for China.
Right? So that's why China woke up yesterday and was a bloodbath. So we'll have to wait to see if there's some sort of a resolve to that. But yeah, whatever hits in China is obviously going to be affected global economies here. So yeah, it's a problem, man, today. And not looking forward to this action straight off the open. It's going to be volatile for sure. VIX is up to 24.25, so that's another level to look at. And then we didn't even get a chance yet to look at the U.S. dollar, but here it is right here. This is Bitcoin, first of all. Bitcoin right now back to 67,000. Bitcoin's kind of just doing a dance. Like, I don't know, between like 66 to 68,000, doing whatever it wants to do right here. Here's a US dollar. If we go on to a 15-minute chart, see, you're starting to see some strength over there, helping silver down, gold down, US dollar up, oil up. So we're seeing where some of the flight to some of the safety of the US dollar, and then obviously the scarcity resource of oil, not gas. Also, if I just type in not gas, does that work here? Yeah, spot not gas. Yeah, okay. Anyways, that's also heading to the high side. Like, we were just back, $2, $2.90. Now you're up to $3.14. So there are some decent moves even happening here in nat gas. We call this thing the Widowmaker for reasons. I mean, it's $6 down to $3, and now starting to go back upside here again. So I'm not sure if this is the most liquid one-day Pepperstone. I don't know what's going on with that, but we'll find out a better quote for that. But nat gas also moving around here today as well. So lots of actionable trades, no matter what you're looking at there today. And we'll still wait for Battle to reopen back up.
Yes.
That should create a big opportunity if that opens, and we get a much more dramatic price there, closing at 27, halted.
Yes,
right
it
now.
will.
We want to welcome everybody on TikTok as well. Thank you for everybody watching over on TikTok right now, as we have our TikTok page is up and running right now. So go there, follow it, like it. Maybe later I'll create a passkey. Follow this. 55,000 followers. We want to, whoopsies, sorry, there's something wrong with the server, but go try it out right now. I think I have to log in. But join us on TikTok every day now. If you're watching us on YouTube, that's fantastic, but also now on TikTok. Nasdaq getting a hell of a lot worse right now as we speak. So there it goes, man. Bye-bye. Bitcoin breaks 67,000. Nasdaq going downside. We just broke there, 24.5 downside right now. Nasdaq down 2%. It's getting nasty out there. Please don't open up your accounts today. And if you do, maybe dip buy or don't, because right now things could get nasty real quick. Here today, I'm stuck for some ideas immediately, other than everything short. So, yeah, I'm not willing to buy this dip, not quite yet. We had a good move yesterday in SOFI, I thought, back up to the upside in 1750, 18. Yeah, let's go. What?
The late day move was nuts on
the late day move. What was the news? I know we saw that, but that's it.
Neither one of us. I don't think
I was mocking that buy.
Nobody was expecting SoFi to actually move on that Noto buy.
Right, like $1 million worth.
It wasn't significant. We just kind of brushed it off like, oh, it's probably not a big deal. And I think there might have been a small buy imbalance on it. If it wasn't gigantic, but a lot of that move was after the market too. Like half of that move ended up after the market. So Noto buying some shares, but it just gave up. It gave it up. Like it's right back to where it was when we dropped the story last night. So even that doesn't look that great anymore. So I don't want to be doing any cartwheels or celebrations over SoFi. But it's a weird one. It does show at least there's some buying that might be coiled up in some of these. Like it didn't take much of a headline to get this to go in the afternoon. It would be nice it would be nice if you had some continuation. But it's a very different feel from what we had yesterday. I think everyone kind of can sense that. It's not looking or feeling very good, and we just keep getting more. I just saw another headline. China officially opposes U.S. action in Iran. Okay, well, we kind of would have expected that. But yeah, I haven't seen a good headline yet this morning, boys.
Not a lot, that's for sure. It's not all negative, though, as far as price action. Pins, one of those upside in a pretty big way here. This is the weekly chart, so if you zoom way, 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 way out, this is 2020. The low was $8-ish, $9-ish. On Pinterest, we're sitting just above 15, 16 right now. So Elliott going to take $1 billion stake here in Pinterest.
Oh, Elliott seems to have this cult following. Anytime they get involved with anything, Brendo, it's a good reaction. As you mentioned, they're disclosing $1 billion, what they're calling strategic investment from Elliott Investment Management. Pinterest said it expects to use the proceeds from the investment to repurchase its own shares of common stock to the tune of about $1 billion. Shares are up nicely here. It's breaking news, so we'll keep an eye out on this one. But that $20 area coming into focus here, up 7.5, Brendo.
Yeah, I mean, it's up, but if you, again, zoom out a little bit, this is $20, this is $20, this is $20. So, I mean, we're running into some significant resistance here, but maybe a catalyst to get going.
You know what I need? What would be really interesting, I think they actually mentioned this in one of their earnings reports, is have you seen like on Amazon, if you want to buy a couch, you want to buy a lamp, you can superimpose it in real time. So
like
this
virtual.
AR, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people go on Pinterest for exactly that reason. Clothing, interior decoration. It behooves them to throw in that sort of
AI.
Yeah. And just because that seems to be their moat. I don't know what.
I feel like $1 billion could maybe buy that if they wanted it to and get it up and running, but I don't know. Let's see. $20, guys, worth a look here today for pins.
If it can get to $20, that's a big if. It just lost the volume weighted average price. Like it's an activist investor is not a bad thing. Ultimately, getting them in there, but yeah, like the 20 is not even that significant of a level. Like the breakout's already happened through 18. I think you'd be more likely. Like look at the sentiment right now. I feel like if there's going to be a trade, it'll probably be something along the lines of filling the gap back into 18 to 18.20 and maybe a bounce at some point. So like that's like I think that would be more interesting to look into. And I mean ultimately like what's the future for pins? I don't know. I don't use them anymore. I haven't used them in a while. And maybe you can find an interested party that can find some value in here. And I think that's what Elliot's probably going for. Obviously, but I'd be more inclined to look for, just based on the sentiment, like the fill the gap back into the prior high seems more likely than any kind of a breakout at $20. I don't know what takes to $20 at this point. That's not enough of a headline for me on pins. And there's going to be there's stronger retail stocks, or not retail, but there's stronger stocks that you can look at. And one way to maybe find a few of those will be to check the upgrades and downgrades.
All right, guys, welcome back. Yeah, let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to kick things off with some downgrades. We're going to start things off with CVS, guys, getting a price target, its price target lowered from $100 to $97. You can see that it's negative like the rest of the market here, down 1.1% by Wolf Research. Broadcom also getting its price target lowered quite a bit here, $370 to $340 by Royal Bank of Canada, and at a sector perform rating, down 2.6% here this morning. Marvell as well too, guys, $112 was that initial price target, being lowered to $95 by Morgan Stanley. We're almost down 3% here this morning. And then we have Duolingo getting its price target lowered from $230 to $110, with down 2.65% here, so not too good of a look. That downgrade is coming by Barclays. Moving forward, we'll take a look at some of the upgrades. AppLovin getting the nod here this morning, guys, going from a sell to a neutral rate. Price target $340, and it is negative with the overall market this morning. Pfizer as well getting the nod, guys, going from a hold to a buy with a $35 price target. You're down 1.25. Twilio also getting the nod. TD Cowen giving that upgrade, $125 to $160. Once again, negative with the overall market. And then Salesforce also getting the nod as well too, guys. $197 was that initial target, now getting raised to $200. You're down 1 1/5 here this morning.
The news just came out with BATL. They're just raising $15 million at $5.50. So this will probably get down a little bit, but pre-funded warrants, $5.50, raising $15 million. I don't know how the stock's going to react to this. The tap is still right where we closed, 27.68. So shares still halted ahead of that news pending. Marvell Thursday after market. This stock, honestly, I think this stock has huge upside, and it's one that's in my portfolio. The last time we missed on earnings down here, we bought it. We did that 3-day rule. We bought this thing down in the low 60s, man. It ripped up to $100. Like that was a good trade. We'll see if we can do something similar again with this. If they miss tomorrow, man, let's load that up again and go for Marvell rides. Yeah, I really like it. Down 3.5% here today. Nothing in this market is going to be, sort of in the tech space anyways, saved from downside play early, right? So like even Google back to 280 is a screaming buy, and this thing is down 3% today, as well as everything getting clubbed out. And, I like Marvell. I think you'll be, well, heading into earnings, maybe it's too late to buy anything. We sort of talked about that, but I'm excited to see what that earnings call can do, as well as Broadcom coming through with earnings this week as well tomorrow night. So, lots of names coming here at very, very awesome levels, just to be able to see what winds up happening. This is looking dangerous to me as well, breaking below the 200, looking like there's a lot more downside plays here in Broadcom. But Broadcom and Marvell very similar in their businesses as well, photonics and everything like that. But I like Marvell going here. Actually, I don't even know what Marvell's PE is right now. Hold on, let me just double check it. I don't know what it is compared to Broadcom either. 28 to 28 PE, 4 PE, 24. But anyways, I really like it. So yeah, there it is. 31 for Broadcom, 66 on the current 31. So Marvell significantly cheaper than Broadcom, and I think is a better holding. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening with these names. I just wrote down NVIDIA as well for the short. If we can get up to 180, we'll short NVIDIA this morning. And yeah, just working on this list, man. It's 8:40 right now. Silver, obviously going to be on mine today as well. Just a quick check on oil one more time, just to see what that's up to. Again, up 7%. We did see a little bit of a fade yesterday. I don't think that's really going to happen there today. And silver, last time we checked it, yeah, was down 9%. Looking to see if that one bumps, so we can fade it a little bit there. And I don't know. We'll keep on checking when battle goes. I mean, you guys will probably let us know in the chat when it gets opened up there as well. So we're excited for that one. And then name that's, if you wanted to go long on something, poor Obi, but Circle right there. Obi's still winning the contest,
That was
by
up
the way.
yesterday, but
Yeah, this name has been absolutely, like, this got right back into sort of, I thought its IPO was what, 40 or something dollars there? No, right here. That's not their IPO. Yeah, there it is. 60, sorry, not 40. So we got right back into their IPO range, and we busted out on a decent earnings report. We'll have to wait to see if Circle is another winner here again today, down 5% off of a huge most recent move higher. But yeah, so some interesting names. Coinbase should be exciting too, with crypto down to 67,000. There's so much going on right now as far as what to look at. Quantum names as well. Like SMR's down, has a 12 handle on it right here. So there's something to be said about that. That's down. Is that down 5% or that's the same? Yeah. So
that's 5 points.
So that's down 5% as well. So I mean, things are going downside.
Not much looks good. Not much looks good. But there was a name on the upgrades list that at least is maybe not something you would normally think about, and that's Pfizer. And I know we're going to have Brian this afternoon, a name that he was mentioning, I believe, also for potential breakout. This has been looming for quite some time. It's been an entire year that this has been holding under this $28 level. It tapped there once, it tapped there twice, and it's consolidating higher. This is a low-key, like, boring stock, which is trying to find its way back. And there could be a break. I'm not saying it happens today, because we're $1 away, and what's going to actually make anything go up today? But it's getting pretty darn close. Upgrade, maybe it gets there, but it's now on the watch list for another run at this $28 level. We got our special guest this morning, and it's from the campus program, so we're going to fire you back to the desk because Wayne is here.
Right in, lots to discuss here this morning. Wayne is the risk manager over at Real Trading, just through that wall next to us. Wayne, let's get right into it here, because I think there's a lot to learn and a lot to take from a change in the market, even since the last time you and I talked once again. Walk us through how these guys, how your traders are approaching this move in oil, and just in general from a risk standpoint, with this obviously increased volatility on the macro scale.
Yeah, honestly, it's pretty volatile right now, especially with just everything going on. For example, yesterday when the Strait of Hormuz kind of news came out, oil spiked up, retraced the entire move, and then went all the way back up again. So right now we're kind of just telling traders, watch the move play out first, give it a little bit more breathing room, risk down a little bit, give yourself a chance to take another shot, maybe a third shot. Don't risk everything in one basket on one single trade, or else you might get blown up right away, right? You buy the breakout, instantly dumped, and then it actually went. So that's kind of the main thing I've been telling traders right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different ways you can express that trade in general. Is it a individual producer type of approach that you're seeing more often than not, or is it the futures in general? What's the more common instrument to go to?
Yeah, I think we're mainly looking at the producers right now. A ticker that we're watching pretty closely is something like a CVE. a little bit less volatile because a lot of our traders try to take more size, and we're not looking for kind of the battalions of the world. I think everybody has been talking about BATL for the past 3 days, and unfortunately, that's kind of not our structure. We like to, take a bigger position size and then kind of have a slower moving stock. Can also help us manage risk more.
When it comes to ideas for today, just give me your top 2 or 3 here from the energy standpoint first.
Yeah, so something like a CVE, we're watching Oxy very closely. Obviously, we're going to watch Battalion as well, but that's going to be less of a focus, just considering the fact, we're zooming out a lot. Because Battalion just kind of, it's a little bit harder to manage a risk on it. Borrowing fees are quite high on it as well. So we're focusing more on the lower volatility side. But, when the lower volatility stocks get a lot of volatility, in my opinion, that you can get a lot of edge from that because, the usual participants are not used to that kind of volatility.
When you talk about, a very headline-driven environment to these guys, to these traders, how do you approach the risk element specifically from headlines, specifically, like you said, we had that huge move up yesterday in oil, and then it retraces the entire thing. Here we are right back up to those levels. You got to really stay on your feet.
Yeah, I think it's just really about kind of sizing down a little bit. If you're used to taking 1,000 shares, you're probably taking 500. If you're used to taking 5K, you're probably taking 1K kind of thing, right? And then, another thing is, watching someone like you guys always have the news in your ear to understand what's going on. You're not going to beat out the algos, but you're still going to beat out vast majority of the uninformed traders.
It's a good point, and I think in this environment, just for the market in general, going forward, that's a very, very good rule set. Let's shift gears here because we've had many conversations on this show over the past couple of weeks, and even going back to the beginning of the year about the outperformance of global markets versus North America so far this year. One of the ones that has really shined and really hasn't gotten any press or media coverage for that has been Korea. And you were telling me this morning, limit down in some cases here for not only the index, but individual names over there.
Yeah, I think it's it's like a rubber band kind of theory, right? Like my mentor always talked about this, and you can think about it from multiple different time frames, from 1 minute chart from the lowest time frame to the longest time frames. And when things get really, really stretched out, they usually snap back really aggressively. And yeah, the Kospi limit down, I believe, 8 or 9%. And -7% hit 2 kind of circuit breakers, and a lot of the memory stocks there, got a very, very big hit. So we're going to watch it very, very closely, monitor the LNG situation, which is kind of partially what contributed. Another interesting about this market is that Monday was a holiday in Korea, so I think there's a kind of added component of 2 days of trading compressed into one.
Yeah, coming back into the market after everything that happened on the weekend. All right, as far as the ideas go today, let's talk some earnings here. As we mentioned off the top of the show, there are a couple of earnings worth noting. MongoDB, one of those, down big time here. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so I think the main thing with MongoDB right now is that they're kind of priced to perfection. We already saw the kind of hit that happened in software, and they're simply put, their guidance was not good enough, right? They guided midpoint 2.88 billion. The street want a lot more from them. And I think in the current situation, if you don't have a very, very stellar performance right now, especially if you're not part of the kind of hot sectors, like defense, for example, you get punished pretty hard. And I think that's a result of that.
All right, the other one, ONON, sneaker company here, trying to bounce once again. It looks like the call has wrapped up. As soon as we came on at 8 o'clock, there were some comments coming through from the CFO specifically. But something like this, nowhere near as big of a move as MDB. But is there an opportunity here?
Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting around. So just let me pull out my charts. Around this 40-ish area, we're going to really watch it really carefully because right now, same thing with ONON is that their management has a historic tendency of sandbagging earning results and guidances, for example. So I think I want to kind of watch and see how the street react to it. So not a big read of it. I kind of just understand that these are specific key levels that we're going to watch out for, and I want to see what the market is telling me.
Great stuff. A couple of ideas to take to the open this morning. Is there any updates on the campus program? I know we mentioned that the last time you were on.
Yeah, we're always looking for more people and talented individuals. So if you're interested, As you can see, there's a QR code there if you're interested. We're starting a new group. We already started a new group, but we're probably looking to start groups every single month. So you can scan the QR code. Lars, who is sick today, but he is a campus manager. He's my colleague, great friend of mine, and he will also be on the show on Thursday, and you will be in contact with him.
Fantastic. Wayne, always great insight. Thanks for doing this once again.
Thank you, Brandon. Thanks for the time, guys. Have a good day.
Yes, as always, thank you, Wayne. And one of the things that Wayne mentioned was, battle might not be up everyone's cup of tea in terms of liquidity and the style that it has. But you know what? There's multiple of those runners that are moving, like that TPET. Well, you don't like battle and it's $30 price and halting and the spread. Well, you can trade something like TPET. That's up 50%. It was up 100 points yesterday, or whatever the ridiculous percentage it was at some point. And it's got that 1 penny spread. It's a $2 stock. It was $1 yesterday. So it might be a little bit more in your wheelhouse, or maybe you like an Indo, which lies somewhere in between those two types of names. Although Indo looks pretty weak once again here. So look, a lot of these small cap runners have been of the variety where you have to keep your ear to the ground, as Wayne said. Like, you're going to have to listen. Not everyone's going to be halting for still know the reason on battle, but we did see the afternoon headlines. Like, Indo was literally at the low when we hit that headline at 310. The stock shot to the upside rather quickly. So any big headline that's going to move the energy markets is going to be moving these small cappers, which might be a different circumstance for what you're used to. A lot of times, one of the reasons you trade the small cap gappers and runners is because they just do their own thing, and you don't have to worry about midday headlines unless it was an offering. That's a little bit different with these. So you do have to keep your ear to the ground. This is very much like momentum trading in tech stocks, where, hey, one big headline can move things. So yeah, it's a little bit of a different vibe for some of these small cappers, but plenty of opportunity out there for everybody. And yeah, we still wait on battle for the reason why that one is halted, I guess.
No, it's 15 million.
Officially?
Yeah, 15 million at 550 a share.
550. Well, 550 is where it was 2 days ago, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's what they're doing. So I'm just taking a picture of the sticky note. It'll be out very, very shortly. Thanks, Wayne, for that. Let's go back to the desk. It's 8:52.
All right, yeah, a few interesting concepts and ideas there. I mean, this energy plague definitely going to be on the minds of a lot of people, I think, today. Yeah. Looking at something on the smaller end of the market cap scale, a little less volatile, a little less wild, but I mean, it's still going to be a very headline-driven market, I think, going forward here.
Absolutely, Brendo. I mean, anything can happen at any time. Another ship can get hit, and let's just be quite clear about this. I believe it was the Iranian Revolutionary Guard who said everybody's going to get smoke, right? Anybody who floats a boat past the Strait of Hormuz, whether you're a declared enemy or not, you're going to get clipped. And that's kind of the position that they're taking. What kind of headline risk does that cause? And then we didn't even cover the insurance angle. Yeah. The insurance angle is, I think it was up over 94%, just based on Friday's prices, Brendo. So you don't anticipate anybody coming through there now. There are different regions of the world that are going to get affected differently. My understanding is the Asian refineries really do rely a lot more on oil and not gas, by the way, coming through that strait than the North American refiners do. We've seen, obviously, a lot of the southern refiners back up and running because they're getting more that heavy crude, kind of like that Canada has from Venezuela. Yeah. So they're relying a lot more on that. And obviously they're relying on our heavy crude from Alberta. So you feel it's going to be regional.
And can they offset it? I don't think there's enough, capacity. I mean, it's 20% of global production comes out of that area. I saw a couple of people, or a couple of analysts, mentioning the Red Sea as an alternative, but then there was a few that were quick to, mention the simple fact that even if that is the case, exactly, you have that aspect, but the capacity is nowhere near what the Strait of Hormuz would be able to hold.
You're absolutely right. Egypt did expand the Suez Canal. So instead of there was like one shipping lane where ships had to actually park on the side, let one pass, and then another one could come in. That doesn't happen anymore. So it's a two-way system. So it's better than in years past, but not nearly, of course, as wide as the Strait of Hormuz. You can't even see the other side of the coast. Yeah. That's how wide it is.
Hundreds and hundreds of ships. I guess, I mean, the other thing to talk about here today is going to be crypto, I think, still leaning to the downside here. I saw a couple of people mentioning the simple fact that we give it all back from yesterday. I mean, that's just the ETF, obviously, but you were just talking about some interesting costing measures here for Riot.
This is specific to Riot, but you assume if it costs Riot this much to mine 1 Bitcoin, it stands to reason that, you know, the costs are similar to some of its competitors. So listen to this, Brando. For them to mine 1 Bitcoin, just one, it's going to cost Riot blockchain now $49,645. That is up an insane amount from what it was in 2024, $32,216. So if you have the bias like I do that we go into the 30s so that we can kind of manifest that 70 to 80% retracement off that high, at some point or for a period of time, if Bitcoin drops below that, this is not going to be a profitable endeavor. Right. Now, to be fair, you asked me a great question, like how much money do they have on hand? Can they finance it? Riot can. But that doesn't mean that the operations are going to be profitable. And
there's going to be a lot of other players in this space that are in the same boat. You know, that's only one of them. But at some point, it will start to affect things a little bit. IBIT, guys, sitting on this ledge here from way back near its birthday.
Standing on shaky ground, too close to the edge. Yeah, let's see if it knows that ledge. We'll see. I mean, ultimately, I wouldn't have thought that we'd have had the bounce that we did in Bitcoin quite all the way to the 70,000, but the ball didn't lie and the resistance didn't lie either, and we didn't get through. So we were showing this right when we came on. The lower high that got put in at that 68 eventually led to a retest of that low 60s. Is that what's going to be a repeat? I don't know. But I do know that 68,000 is going to be the resistance for today. So any pop back into 68K is a fade for me over in IBIT, just to try to keep it a little bit simple. Yeah, that's exactly what we just did to end the month. Was test 70,000, put in a lower high, find resistance to 68, and then retest a low. So yesterday we tested 70,000, put in a lower high. Now you got 68 resistance. First step is short under the resistance, and we'll see how far it goes from there. But nothing has really changed for the Bitcoin chart. When you look at, if you look at us from a daily perspective, we're just in this bear flag consolidation thing. So as long as we're sitting in this trend break and bear flag, you short the resistance, and the trend is your friend until the end when it bends.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, look, thanks for asking about the sticky note. Wendy's 10 days is about to come out very, very soon. Yeah, look, IBIT's in trouble for a minute here. And yesterday we did have a nice move to the upside almost immediately. I mean, it just followed the market and shot like out of a cannon there. So, yeah, I mean, we're still underneath, we're still above sort of where we started yesterday. And that was a cannon. So where exactly was that price? That's 37. So the fact that you're at 37.80 right now, if we slip back into that 66 again, low, I think I like that for some support down here. So let's wait to see if 37 on IBIT wants to wind up holding at some point here for IBIT. I was just watching out for oil to see if anything was going on in Iraq, I guess. Apparently now just stepping up a little bit more production there out of Iraq. I think 700,000 more barrels or something. So not much actually going on right there now, but oil's still up 7% and watching out for that. All right, man, our watch list is ready to rock and roll. So go make sure you grab that watch list, link in description where it has many of the things we're talking about. It gets emailed to me every single day. Here it is right here, our watch list. Make sure you go check it out. Today, Tuesday, March 3rd, there's the economic events. Nothing going on today, just a couple Fed speak there, talking about what's moving higher or lower in the open. Oil, gold, silver, MongoDB down 26%. There's Advanced Micro Devices, Target, C, everything right here. SOFI, we just talked about that yesterday. Anthony Noto, there it is right there, 56,000 shares. Best Buy on a good report, back to where it was 2 weeks ago. On downside, on a not a great guide. And Adara confirmed these numbers, so thank you to Adara on that one. So a lower guide there. Amazon does confirm that they got hit yesterday in their data centers over the weekend, so that story's there as well. Intel, there's our big bear AI. We'll get to that in a minute. Too bad, that loss of 1 cent. We were just waiting. Almost got there, and we'll talk about that as well. Quantum, Meta, Apple, Plug Power. Wow, the stories are unlimited here on our watches today. Make sure you go sign up for that as we watch out for oil and gold and silver and everything commodity like today, as well as obviously the Nasdaq now down more than 2%. ES, as we go back over the desk to start our talk on individual stocks, ES down 1.7, Nasdaq down 2.1. Not great right here. So, Iraq, there's more news about this Iraqi oil.
They shut down like the second largest oil field
Yep.
in the world, shut down.
400,000 or something? Iraq has decreased oil production from the Rumalia oil field by 700,000. That's what it was. So reduced it by 700,000, did not
We
add
don't like that.
700,000. That's why I went over to oil. It's not doing anything. So I don't think people really care about
It's almost like the bad news is just priced in at this point. Augustus plays, before we go back up and start the watch list here, thank you for the super chat. Why is everything crashing? VXUS down. But look, ultimately, we got a swath of bad news overnight. The attack on the U.S. embassy, further escalations, the threat from Iran, in the afternoon yesterday. So this is all right back into response of what happened overnight. And yeah, so your VXUS. Many things are going to be headed to the downside for those reasons. Yesterday we got a bounce at the open. I don't know, man. It's not. I don't think it's a rip your face off. I think there'll be opportunities to pop and fade, but it's distinctly different as we got a continuation or escalation, I guess I should say, of what's going on with the conflict in Iran. Back up to the desk. Let's get this watch list started. Plenty of earnings to get to. Like, not everything is moving because of what's happening in the Middle East.
Even though it feels like, there's a lot of blood in the street, and there is, we're still within the range, guys. We're down 1 3/4 here on the SPY, but take a look at where we bounced off in mid-January. Take a look at where we bounced off last month, February. The overnight low takes us down to 672.22. We're at 674.5. So we're going to look to that February 5th low as our first area of support. That takes us all the way down to 670 and 2/3. Let's just say 671, or 670.5. If we catch a bid, we're looking at that 679, 680 area as resistance. That's the area low that we put in, Brendo, back on the 17th of February, and then again back on the 23rd. So we'll see if that comes in.
Here comes the bottom end of the range once again for both of these markets. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you take a sec. Jump down to the description of this video. A second link in the description will get you to the sign-up page for the watch list. And then all you need is your email address. Absolutely free for you every day. Oil and energy and all things related, top of the list this morning, including, that's just the futures, the oil futures on a weekly time frame. I zoomed out a lot so we can look at some highs here that's just in front of $80. You got to go back to June of last year. And then basically the beginning, a year ago, January 2025, we were sitting up here at $75-80 as well.
Yeah, it feels like it might get a little worse before it gets better. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard, they claimed that the strait was closed and they warned vessels could be attacked. Irrespective of the source, insurers and ship owners are now treating a region as effectively high risk. And as you mentioned earlier, roughly 1/3 of the global seaborne crude, about 19% of LNG, and then 14% of refined products all flow through that corridor. And the benchmark very large crude carrier rates jumped to $423, $736 per day. That is a 94% increase from what they were charging on Friday. Obviously, war risk insurance cancellations have forced many ship owners to avoid the transit through Hormuz entirely. And you have producers like the UAE, Oman, Kuwait. They haven't halted production, Brendo, but the shipping bottlenecks are tightening supply. And one logistics CEO reported losing a vessel because another charterer, I should say, paid 50% more than typical. So what's happening now is anybody who takes the risk of going through is getting rewarded, and they're making a lot of money doing it.
So, sorry, that was a per day number?
That's a per day number.
500 grand a day, essentially.
A little bit less than 500 grand, which is almost 100% higher than the Friday rates.
Crazy. So many different ways to portray this idea, guys. I just brought up USO here, not one we talk about a lot, but just popping up towards day highs as well, $94 coming into play.
Oil just actually broke VWAP and broke a consolidation and is making a bit of a run here. So if you're not playing the small cappers, and obviously there's that battle, there's, not TNet. But anyways, if you're not playing Battle or Indo or any one of those other, any one of these other bad boys, I think one of the places you could look if you don't want to trade the futures, as Brennan mentioned, is going to be USO. I'm also looking at Oxy as it held under, I mentioned this already, like it held under VWAP the entirety of the way. It's already pulling back, but with futures starting to go, once it's if it closes any consolidation over the volume weighted average price, then I will look for a long play. If it can't do that, I really don't mind staying away from the stock. And as far as the small cappers go, the one that's on my watch is TPET for the same reason. Like if it can actually hold on to VWAP today, I think it can be a nice little runner. Battle is halted with the offering, but TPET, this one doing 60 million shares in volume. But it's got to get above VWAP. It's still, I'm going to still follow, you follow that rule. It's got to show you some strength that you didn't just make the pre-market high and you've been going down ever since. It's lower highs, still has to break that trend on TPET. Once that can happen after the open, then I'll like this one a little bit better.
I think buying oil rate here right now is probably a good idea. I mean, you're up 8%. I think 8% can get a lot more than that. You're starting to break out, and there's a nice move up right here on oil, on that some of that Iraqi news that we were just talking about as they cut 700,000 barrels from one of their reserve. So you got to be careful there. From one of their oil fields, not their reserves. And, you know, I was just going to say, instead of looking at individual names, like just as an investment, like XLE does pay a dividend. Obviously, you can look at crude oil themselves, but XLE, I really like this name as it continues to work long and gives you a percentage of all. And that's the most recent thing that I've bought in the account, unless it was SOFI, but I think it was that. Valero is just another name that I've been, you know, we've been talking about all of these names for a very, very long time. I'm not sure what was going on with this little dip there on Valero back into 165, but what a year this name has had, man, going back to January. This was a $165 name, now up to $216, paying again 2 to 3% dividend. I really, really like Valero holding this 50-period moving average. This is the refiner, right? And so as we just said, as the U.S. becomes more and more dependent on their own oil, you know, and especially oil that they're going to try to bring up from Venezuela, you know, you're going to need to get some refining going on. Valero is the name for you, and never does too much volume in the pre-market, but you know, again, a pullback in to yesterday's levels, 215. That could be something right here for Valero. We saw it bounce around 214 to 214.50. So we can look at VLO today, and then there's also, you know, if you just want to trade something easy, United States Oil. This is USO. So this will monitor the price of oil the same way that we just looked at it. So if you're looking for an equity, USO, and then OIH is the oil hold, Vanek Oil Services, very similar to XLE. Excuse me, as well. This is down, so I don't know what's up with that one. But OIH, USO, and XLE, the ETFs that you would want. And there's many other ETFs that you guys can talk about. There's DRIP and all these kind of things. There's gas ETFs as well. You can take out some UNG here. This is United Gas Fund here. This is up 5% as well, starting to go. We just talked about nat gas and how much I like that in this environment as well. So I like water plays as well. But 1260, 1270, looking like we're going to break the top here on UNG. So yeah, energy all the rage right now. So from one commodity to the next, let's go find out more right now about silver and gold.
Other end of the spectrum here, downside for both. Sadly, we are bouncing right now, though. 75, I guess, back in play here for SLV. I mean, we gave it all back in a hurry yesterday, right back to the bottom end of the range from last week, but down significantly again.
Primarily driven here by the strength of the U.S. dollar hitting 1 month high, the Dixie breaking through 99, and we know the inverse correlation between the metals and gold. It's this simple. The math is gold and silver are priced in dollars. A stronger dollar makes them more expensive for anyone using other currencies like the euro or the yen. This naturally suppresses demand and pushes the prices down. Obviously, there could be other reasons specific to the metal that you're talking about. But yeah, we'll keep an eye here on the U.S. dollar as it continues to trend to the high side. Yeah,
trying to get back higher, though, right now, guys, for both.
It is, but, you know, ultimately we saw what happened yesterday. We're back under the 50 period on the daily. Not that that's been that big of a wall for the stock, but it's still... Some psychology is going to matter, but the support level is what I'm looking at. this prior support, we held it last week, the 77 to 78 level. Lots of really good bottoming tails in there. So support to resistance puts it as a trend breaker if we get to about 70. Once it gets to 77, it's in the range, and then it's that 78 level where you'd really start to think if it takes out 78, then you're really pushing into yesterday's highs, and that's kind of like your last-ditch shot. Because if this can get back all the way up there, I wouldn't be fighting it. But I'm looking fade back into prior support here on SLV. So that's what I'll be looking at. And ultimately, I still would believe if you're looking to flight to safety, the relative strength of gold is obvious in this particular case. Like I just talked about pulling back into last week's support levels for silver, and that's a fade there. Well, gold is bouncing off of last week's support levels. It just shows you, even though it's down, the charts, if you just look at it from overnight, it looks pretty similar, and usually silver is going to move bigger percentage, but it's vastly different when you compare it to where we were last week. So gold holding up much, much better. If GLD can hold 470, this actually looks much more constructive to the long side, but silver short into that 77, 78.
Hey, what's up, Wendy's Tendies? The sticky note is now out, so you can go grab that right here. I put it in the chat. Yeah, 79.50 to 80 bucks short here. We saw yesterday the Asian markets, the Kospi was down to over 7% as we get risk-off pressure. And this is sending waves throughout the whole market. I had insight here. Let the market open up, right, and see if there's any sort of a resistance level there. So you can go find that. I'll put it in the chat again. Whoops, that's the wrong thing. I just copied over into the chat, but I'll get that in there in a minute. But yeah, anyways, if we can get up to 80 bucks, I mean, I don't think we'll get there. We had sort of started it. That's why we wrote down 79 to 80 bucks on the note here, but now the 200 period is all the way down at 77. I thought maybe we would get a little bit of a move higher here in the pre-market just because of how beat up it was, but that doesn't seem to be right. VWAP right here at 75.50. Just be careful. Let's watch it. Let's watch that early move, right? I mean, yesterday we were sort of dancing around. This is early yesterday, 8 o'clock. And then when the market opened, you could see we had a dramatic move. And then we kept on continuing into about 9:35 as we made that move into 80 bucks. And there's your $80 spot right there. And that spot popped into 82. And then we hit VWAP, and then it was downside from there, and we regained 80 bucks in the afternoon and sort of took off from there, creating again another little area of vacuum of supply, push and pull there before eventually the pull won, and we went up to 82 bucks again before failing at 82 back down. So, there is an opportunity for this name to get going a couple bucks here. And if we're talking about $2, $3 like we were yesterday, then that does get us to 77. So let's be careful with it. We'll watch it early, looking short only on silver today. And then we'd really do like gold. Other names like copper, coming back in a little bit with this play as well. Copper's going to have obviously industrial uses just like silver does. And there it goes all the way to the downside here as you continue to watch the tech space getting hit. So copper going to have an effect on tech names as you need a lot of copper into some of these GPUs and server sets and everything like that. So data centers. So copper going to be a little bit of a problem there. We'll see if we can get it down to 83 bucks, 83.50 for copper, down 8% right now. So that's going to be an interesting level as well there for COPEX. It's looking lower. But for me, it's silver. It's on the sticky note. It's ready to go. Shorting silver at some point here today in the first 5 minutes. We'll look to see the action and probably take a 5-minute top. If we're anywhere near levels that looks like we're developing, I'm going to go short on silver somewhere near the top of that 5-minute candle.
Of earnings to deal with. One of those, MDB, MongoDB, downside in a big way, although we are starting to get going back higher actually right now. Not great here, right across the board for their report.
Yeah, it was a clean Q4 beat, but the market trades forward expectations. As we know, Brendo, and Q1 guidance was not strong enough. This is kind of that classic multiple compression in a high growth SaaS when the near term acceleration starts to fade. So let's talk about that report. Q1 adjusted EPS of $1.15 to $1.19. This is the guide, guys. That is below whatever range you're looking at. The analyst estimates of $1.20, and the revenue, which is projected to be $659 to $664 million. That's roughly in line, but still below the consensus estimate of $662. The muted earnings outlook here kind of overshadowed an otherwise solid quarterly performance. Speaking of that performance, we got Q4 EPS of $1.65 on revenue of $695 million. That beats the $1.48 EPS and $670 revenue number. The business is still growing, but it's more about, that deceleration versus expectations. And for the full year, EPS coming in at $5.75 to $5.93. Stock was up about 25% in the past 12 months, but when you look locally, down about 23% year to date.
Analysts tend to agree with that call. There's probably 7 or 8 at least that are on the negative side of things. Price target cuts all across the board here, guys, for this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's perfect. It's a perfect storm in the wrong way, I guess, here. Wrong sector, wrong results on guidance, the wrong morning to have this all happen to you from on-go. But the good news is being down over 25% and sort of creeping into these August levels in the 220s are pretty significant. And creeping into that kind of a territory, it's actually holding up rather well. Like, it's already starting to look like a dead cat bounce. So I would have been looking for like the 220 to 225 area. Seemed like that was the level on the daily chart to maybe look for a dead cat bounce, but it seems like it's already doing a little bit of that as we speak. So this might, if it doesn't break the low, there's only one place it can go, but I'm still inclined to believe that it has a chance to break that low, and it would be about the 220 to 225. Let it settle down. The entire space there's been some bounce back, but again, wrong morning, wrong result. You cannot show that you're slowing growth when everyone's concerned that you're going to have that kind of disruption. And we've seen 20% turn to 30% many times. So that would be the area that I'd look at, that 222 to 225 area.
So another name here, Target, that might get traded here today. I don't think Mongo will, but we'll watch out for Target here down to 114 or so. Again, like really faded off of that exact level. And we had talked about getting out the last time, or not the last time, but a couple weeks ago, I guess, that Target was up here. I was really hoping that we would break higher because the next sort of area is 135 for me. But yeah, Target, again, missed, not the greatest, man. I mean, sales of 30.4, missed sales of 30.5. Earnings per share beat 244 versus 215, so they're getting a little bit more efficient on that. Their gap forward estimate lower as well, but Target falling right into the lap one more time here into 114, 113, kind of right where we were yesterday. If you thought the numbers were pretty good, you're going to get a good deal here right off the open for Target. I think Target shoots back up here today, so I'm almost... if you do think that there's going to be a little bit of a dead cat bounce here in the market of some sort, with the Nasdaq being down 2.2% to start, I think Target is a winner that you can get an easy. I mean, $3 is never easy, but well, it depends, I guess. But that's I think you can get that early right there off Target, and it's a New York name, so we should be able to see if there are any imbalances or anything on Target here today. I don't see one on Target. There's not much going on there. Rig, of course, as we just talked about, UNG and oil names there, but yeah, nothing there. There's Pinterest, there's a story there, there's Big Bear AI. But yeah, for right now, Target downside play. I think it's just a little bit beat up here because of what the Nasdaq and market's doing. I like Target for a bounce off of one. Yeah, we can call it yesterday's like 114, kind of where we just were, 113.50, 114. With the spread being 50 cents and opening up on open, going to be difficult to put on a lot of shares, but I do think that you can get a move higher on TGT straight off the open.
All right, a couple more to get through here. Chips, first off, downside for both NVIDIA and AMD. Trump administration talking about restricting the amount of sales possible on these individual chips.
Really?
So that's one aspect of this. I mean, the whole China conversation, I think, has to come back into play at some point. I mean, these two are scheduled to sit down and talk to each other, across the table in less than a month here. So whether or not anything happens on that side, who knows?
I think the conversation is markedly changed now. Look what's going on. The Maduro thing happened, right? China doesn't have a presence in Venezuela. This Iran thing is happening. Are these guys going to see eye to eye? Like, is there going to be consensus between these guys? It's going to be really interesting to see. But yeah, when you're looking at the chips, really it's more geopolitics, and the Asian markets absolutely got decimated yesterday with the Kospi down about 7.25%. The Nikkei lost 3.1%. And you're seeing specifically heavy losses in South Korea, especially with the memory names. Samsung was down over 10%. SK Hynix plummeted 11.5%. So you're seeing it everywhere. It's not just restricted to North American markets. And there's not one name on my semiconductor microchip watch list that I have, and there's like almost 25 names that's green. Everything's red.
One of those weeks. Here's AMD, if you zoom out a little bit, on a weekly time frame here. Just can't get out of its own way, guys. Just stair-stepping downside.
Brendo, if I could mention as well,
go for it.
NVIDIA's GTC conference, we got more information about that, just because that's obviously important. March 16th to 19th, guys, it's going to be in San Jose, more than 30,000 attendees. You're going to have Jensen there. They're going to be releasing new products, obviously, that just came through now at about 9 o'clock. Just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, that was the, yesterday we were talking about that inference idea that they had. They were going to unveil that at GTC. So yeah, that's great. March 16th, I'm sure Adara will be all set for covering that.
Yeah, and the world's going to care. I mean, it's NVIDIA. That being said, the chips are weak today. Look, NVIDIA's down 3, AMD's down 4. I was looking at, SMCI and Intel, some other names, but I kind of like AMD today. I know it's close to the 200-period moving average. We had a question yesterday. Someone was asking, gun to your head, which one would you buy at these prices between AMD and NVIDIA? I said NVIDIA. And that doesn't have anything to do with it, but it doesn't help. You've now broken, you can forget about it. You got last week's support at 195. That's going to be sitting there. Monday's low. That was a breakout price, consolidation, then breakout price. So shorts as long as we're underneath. That'll be pre-market high is always going to be a play because that's the actual low of the day. So that'd be the first place I look on AMD. And then if we break out that half, it's like 192.5, then look for that 195 area. So pop and fade today, just specifically looking for AMD. If we got what we did yesterday, it is worth noting, like one of the other reasons for AMD is like you really plowed through it on NVIDIA at the open. Whereas while that was happening, the buyers were less exuberant over in AMD. It's not that it didn't go up at the open, it did. It just didn't go up as far and was trying to play catch up for the rest of the session. And then couldn't break through and do much with the prior day low. So I'm looking for something very similar to that over here in Advanced Micro Devices. I was humming that or Intel, but one of them had broken through support. Intel hasn't actually broken the 43 support. If that does happen, it's a bit of a flat bottom break over on that one.
Yeah, look, I wrote down here on the note again, the other name that we just have Silver, NVIDIA, and Palantir. BATL is back open right now. We can have a quick little look to see what that's doing. BA22 right now for BATL, so watch out for that name. Probably going to get some action going on this one. Probably long right now, battle, 23 bucks. See, there it goes. See where that one goes now. But yeah, NVIDIA, I'm going to shit, man. Should have just punched long there. But yeah, anyways, NVIDIA there, 180 short. I was just talking about it was key levels yesterday right there, so we can have a quick look. I might just get into this battle. But hold on a second. Here's NVIDIA, just to give you guys a look at what I was talking about from yesterday. So here's today. There's 180 yesterday. We bounced around it right off the open and until eventually we broke it. Once we broke it, we never came back. So I'm going to look to see if we do get back up into this 180 area where we started. I mean, again, we started down here yesterday. That's not, we had huge moves higher. So NVIDIA has the ability to be even lower than where we are right now. I mean, it's a nice battle back yesterday. It was up 3%. But here's the 180 that we sort of danced with for a minute and then broke and never really retested it. I mean, we retested it, but it held both times, like not even a question, and then straight back up to 183.50. So, has something changed today from yesterday? We did get that Chinese story there on NVIDIA, potentially limiting some of the options they have to get into there. But yeah, I'm picking NVIDIA because I know it's going to be, I would think it's going to be a stronger chip name, so that means it has the opportunity to get back up, in my opinion anyways. So 180, if we get up there somewhere, I mean, we might even have to do it at 179, but let's just see the action in the first couple minutes, because yesterday, if we got really excited short early, which we did on the futures, but if we did on NVIDIA, you already got smoked $5 in the first 5 minutes. So let's be careful with NVDA here off the open in case it gets really excited again, long side. I'm going to be patient and wait for 180.
All right, here is Amazon this morning, another one that's gapping to the downside in a pretty big way, although we're trying to get back higher right now. Not directly an Amazon story, but more details with this Anthropic out, Sam Altman and OpenAI stepping right through the door.
I have no idea what's going on here. And what's funny enough is that immediately when Anthropic was out, I think it was Saturday morning.
Officially, yeah.
Officially, yeah. Right? Yeah. You saw Sam Altman come out with an X post basically almost saying that he agreed to the same terms of service or articulating the same terms of service that Anthropic had insisted upon. But there were a couple of guess loose ends that, some internet sleuths really did pick up. So then he readdressed it. He kind of walked the whole thing back and said, basically, we're going to be looking to do the same thing that Anthropic wanted, which was no autonomous targeting without human intervention and no wide-scale surveillance of Americans.
Yeah.
And it seems as if he's walked that whole thing back. So I want to see what the Department of War says. There are a couple of other headlines, as you mentioned. There is the OpenAI angle as well. OpenAI's commitment to spend an additional $100 billion. This is from yesterday in Amazon Web Services. Obviously, that's a big amount there. Today, we got this from Brazil. Amazon launches Amazon Now service in Brazil, delivers groceries in 15 minutes. And then we got confirmation yesterday, of course, of the actual attack on AWS centers in the Middle East that were by drones.
As we're sitting here right now, a headline just popped up from Axios. OpenAI and Pentagon add surveillance protection to this AI deal. Again,
Okay, well, there you go.
according to Axios. So ongoing here, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that, like right now, this Amazon, it's not looking the best, but it's not any worse than the overall market, I don't think. The only thing that it's got going for it is you're still within the range where the support's underneath $200. So it's not on my radar. If it was breaking down underneath this 200, I think it would look a little bit different. In the event that we break this 2% that we're down and get to a 3, in theory, that should put you testing some support here on Amazon. But I don't like it. It's underneath that 200 period. You broke down under the 200. You're consolidating underneath. That suggests a bit of a downward trend that is yet to show any signs of abating. But if I'm looking for shorts, then just one of the things that I want to look at today is continuation. And continuation, not where things were bouncing yesterday, but where there was weakness and it stayed weak. So in addition to some of the names that we've already talked about, instead of looking at maybe like an Amazon, I'm looking to pop and fade on an NCLH, which is breaking through lows. Like it was a short yesterday, it never rebounded. Like the initial short off at 22.8, even when the market rebounded, it still managed to hold that resistance for the entirety of the day. So I'm looking for something very similar. They reported yesterday, they missed their guidance. Obviously, travel names got hit as well as a group and were gapped down, but this is also losing the 200 and looking for continuation. So I'm shorting NCLH, looking back into the prior day close. It was about 22.20 that it closed, so I'll look starting at that 22 level. But Amazon, if things get pretty nasty, has a chance to retest that 200.
I guess we should have gone long $23, as we said, on BATL. Congratulations to anybody that did that. That was a good idea, and you put some money bags or some money in your pocket right there with that play on BATL. Look, I have another name. It's Palantir, and I just, it's a good name, and I wrote down here that it's a good name in these war times. And, Palantir continues to be a good one to look for, only down 2%. We've seen other names obviously down significantly more than that, but 139. And I just was trying to look to see about some of that action that we saw yesterday come through for Palantir, and it dripped down into 140 and then took off. So just thinking that if we come back in right there, 140 could be the hold again. I just thought that wasn't low enough if we did get a complete wipe. So we'll watch out for 139, and even right here, we're sort of right on this 200 period moving average right now. So, there is an opportunity to get this thing a little lower. And here's 139, sort of the top from last week. We'll see if we can battle that. I'm not sure it's going to get that low. I mean, even taking out the pre-market high would be something there for Palantir. This is the one stock that I like long right now. I mean, no matter what OpenAI and Anthropic and all these guys talk about, Palantir already has the government contracts. So I think they can play nice with OpenAI and just be a solution here for the government as we talk more about drone warfare and the targeting and everything. And of course, the infamous discombobulator. I do not want President Trump to use this discombobulator anymore. It really discombobulated Venezuela there, and I don't know if he's going to use it in Iran or not. But Palantir might have something to do with that. So we'll have to wait to see here. 143, 142.50 is the break long right there on PLTR. I don't know if that's going to take right away, but if the market rips, man, I'm gonna hate myself once again for not going long 142.50. 1 minute till U.S. Open, not much going on. We saw INDO yesterday was a runner. Today it was as well, only up 5% though. We can check out that battle stock. That's the one moving around. Nothing else there. Pins on activist movement, so that's a nice name there. We were looking at, I wasn't even looking at it, but the guys were talking about 20 bucks as well on that one. So just for you guys to understand what I'm doing right now, I'm going to try to be patient, although I get too excited sometimes. Silver looking for that short, looking for the NVDA long. Short up near 180 if that can hit. I'm already sitting there, and then waiting for a dip buy on PLTR right there as well. So it should be a fun little open here. Needless to say.
Well, I'm expecting there'll be volatility. I'm expecting. It's hard to imagine after what we saw yesterday and being down already that 2% that we're not going to see some spikes. But there weren't a lot of big imbalances out there. Everybody, I saw Rig was kind of one, but it's down 6%. Like 1 million to the sell side, and then TerraWolf was like 1 million to the buy side. But here comes the opening bell for Tuesday, 8th minute tumultuous one, and we just had a headline about this. We're gonna have lots of headlines throughout the day. Remember, we got a late one that really shook the markets at 3:10, but evacuation warning for another area in Tehran, signaling imminent strike. So. More of the same, more of the same. Off the open, AMD really not moving much. Want to pop and fade there if we can, but that's not moving. Oh, now it's starting to go to the upside. Here it goes. Now starting to pop to the upside. That 195, the key level there on NVIDIA or on AMD. Silver not moving much off of the open. Bitcoin not doing much off of the open either. And NCLH heading immediately down.
All right, already $1 there. We're short NVIDIA right now at the price that we posted up. I mean, will it continue to go higher? Potentially. We'll take one fill right there as it just popped in at 179.75. Look, man, I mean, I'm just playing around. We're in it now. I don't know where it's going to go. I'm willing to sit in it just for a couple minutes here to see if there's anything going on. Here goes the market. Look at that. There it goes, man. There goes the market. And what did I say? Palantir's probably along at 142.50. Yeah, about 142.50. There it goes, man. Shooting right to the moon. 145 and change right there as we bust higher. Wow, Palantir, man, you are the one. That is for sure right now. So it looks like, obviously, NVIDIA starting to go upside as well. But wow, Palantir, man, we're not worthy. We're not worthy. Nice move higher there. And here comes right back in again. Our good friend NVIDIA went up through 180 as we were praising Alex Karp and company. NVIDIA gave us another short there at 180. So there it is, man. We'll ring the register, and we're already close to our daily goal right there. So we said we wouldn't be in too much early, but when NVIDIA gives you, now, Neil, $1.20 right now in the money on the short here for NVDA. How's the cruise lines going?
Well, it's more or less the same as yesterday. The initial resistance right at the open has just held, so I'm into NCLH again. Silver's actually heading to the downside already. So NCLH, we're into the south side. Just gonna give it to the prior high, which is right in here at 21.44, little Daryl Strawberry action. Actually have 33s. So we're playing it into $22 even. We'll get some out going into the bottom, but SLV already starting to cruise. There was no bounce up here, unfortunately. Really wanted to try to catch this one on some kind of pop and fade. Yeah, that's not happening at all. What? Where's Palantir?
Oh my God, 146 right now. Palantir, an absolute monster. And look, man, at least we picked the right long. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I was waiting for a dip, and we did say let's be patient here, let the open start. But there's the only long there, and there's the NVIDIA short, which is now $2 right now in the money. I know you like your fruit salad, but we like winners much better than fruit salad, because there it goes, man. NVIDIA right now making that move back into 178. We just take a 178 fill. There it is, man. We went short yesterday and didn't work out, but here it is today, definitely paying those bills on the short side of the trade. We can check out some Tesla action there. Obviously, a little bit of a bounce in that name as well. Their TSLA trying to do good. Good bounce action. And then the short that we wanted was silver. And, as we had already mentioned there, that one making lower moves now as well. Gold, lower. So, yeah, everything's starting to fall down a little bit there. And then the J contract on oil. Yeah, it's kind of not doing too much here early, oil. We're just going to hold on to see if this day is a real bad one, because we've got NVIDIA, and it's doing the best right now, man. We'll just see if we can hold out some of these lows on NVDA and see if we can get just a little bit lower. Let's be patient with this trade here.
Yeah, we just put in the top. We didn't get to 195 on AMD, but we just put in the top at 193.5, which is around yesterday's low. It's not exactly yesterday's low, but it's pretty darn close to it. So I'm in off the even dollar. Gonna give it to just above that even dollar as we see. One name we didn't mention. Keep throwing the names in the chat, everybody. And don't forget that dollar sign. Now, there was lots of earnings we didn't get to. One of them was BBAI. We didn't talk about Astis, ASTS as well, Plug Power, lots of them in there. So we will get to some of those other earnings names that are moving around. I would imagine quite a bit off of the open, but I'm just in NCLH and advanced micro devices, at least for now. I see people putting in SOFI. I really hope that means it's up, but I'm not really holding my breath on that one. So the market's trying to bounce. It did give a couple of pop and fades in here. AMD going to look to get some out into the volume weighted average price as we pop to the desk for the first time today. Adara, what do you have for us?
Yeah, let's discuss here the strikes that we have going on here in Iran. Unfortunately, more to report on that front. Apparently, the Mehrabad airport in Tehran being hit by strikes is reported by Iranian news agencies. A couple minutes before the bell, I did flash it across the screen as a headline, but there were some concerns here that I guess Israel had been warning Iran of strikes. So looks like there was a strike here in Tehran. Back to you.
By the way, remember, thanks, Adara. So we're covering some at 178 here on AMD. Remember, we said 114 up to 117, probably get a couple $3 or so on target. Congratulations if you still got it. I don't know. But there's target right there. Nice little play there, right off that recent low. Remember, we were like, if we can get this price, you get a nice little move, but there's not much volume, so whatever. There's some fills there, 178, 178.20, 178.05 there. I don't know, but yeah, it looks like we are snapping back there. I guess AMD came out, right, because this is a nice move higher here.
It snapped right, so it came right to the opening range bottom and snapped back up. So I got about $1 change on it, nice. But no, this is stronger on AMD. Like, it's actually putting in higher lows. It just held the volume weighted average price as well. And I'm looking over, like the ES is also doing this, but the Nasdaq is what we're watching. If we say the futures, I'm usually looking at the Nasdaq. It had just held and snapped back above the volume weighted average price. So I want to look for the next possible entry. NCLH is still doing its thing. It hasn't broken the even dollar yet, but it's still trending down. But I just popped out the open range on AMD. And for those of you that were typing in SOFI in the chat, you were right. It was going up. It's also starting to pull back. Just remember, if as far as we know, this move was because Anthony Noto bought some shares, and it wasn't even a significant amount, just some insider buying by the CEO. So I treat that as legitimate resistance up there, and not really bullish on SOFI. I want them to go up, but I'm not thinking that's a big of enough catalyst to have made it do what it did yesterday, is what I meant.
Yeah, the market rate here is kind of interesting because we are battling near the top end again right now. Was not, I mean, I don't think, expecting this kind of a rally there. We were stating that, you said yesterday, I heard Neil mention this. I think we all sort of thought of it. It felt a little different today than yesterday, but it doesn't look like it market-wise right now. It's almost the exact same reaction. So let's wait to see if we can hold some of these bids. Yesterday we did. Let's see if we can do it today again. Yesterday we opened or closed the Nasdaq at 0. We were flat, if not a little up on the Nasdaq and a little flat on the ES. So I think it was 0.08 versus zeros right there. So we'll see. Just took a little bit more out there. We got an out there at VWAP at 178.60, sort of on the way up. Then we just took a 179 flat fill here as well. Still $1 in the money here on NVIDIA. Looking to get more up at 180, and then we'll stop out, man, maybe at that high tick right there if we do. Now that we have that out, that's 180.50 or so, I think. So here it comes up, maturing up is the price of NVDA. So watch out here. We're going to get a little more short around 180, but we got to wait for that because the market is saying no mas to those shorts and just punishing them right now as we go to the upside, up 1.5%. What a rebound. I mean, is the ES doing something similar?
Yeah, Apple's
it's mainly the Nasdaq right here starting to rip up. What's up, Adara?
I just want to let you guys know here, lots of earnings bloodshed. Neil alluded to the fact we have tons of earnings reports. Of course, some of these retail names like Target and BBY, Best Buy doing quite well, but SE down 25% this morning. Then you have MDB, which at its lows was down 30% and or 28%, sorry, in its worst one-day performance ever. There's a lot of just really beat up earnings names to be aware of here, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, SE was actually the second worst. MongoDB, obviously. Really bad. Mongo down to 230, but trying to bounce. The market is really, really coming back in here. So look, might have been a good out there on AMD. Norwegian is still making some lows, so it's down another 5%. This one's still headed lower. I'm going to zoom out to the daily chart to show you I've already scalped to the local bottom here at 21 even. If it goes any further through 21, there's a real bottom here at 20 and a third. So I want to look for the reload. If we pop back into the volume weighted average price, we'll reload the short. If the market's going up and this is going down, then that short works. Everything else, if it's popping, then I got to wait and be pretty patient looking for a re-entry. So AMD, which NCLH is on the New York, but AMD is not. AMD trending back higher, still putting in the same low we got the original trade out, but you're still getting a bit of a wedge pattern here. So NCLH working just fine. Silver, no entries. Yet, this is not moving almost at all. Market's trying to break higher, but this isn't going anywhere on SLV. We'll let it make the first move and then try to react to it.
Anish in there in the chat, you want the face slap? Why not? Get the watch, back and forth, back and forth. There it is, man. We got reloaded, so props it up right there, man. Anybody looking at Sticky Note Nation today, you've got a good one right there because there's our 180. Hit now 4 times. Well, really just twice. We have 4 fills up here. Another dollar. This is back to back to back to back to back jacks right now as we continue to do damage here. As there it goes, man. We're now at 1.5 times our daily goal at 940. So that's so far so good there as NVIDIA bleeding back into the downside. Let's see if it will come back in pretty aggressively here, which it looks like it's trying to do. 170. Wow, okay, man. We are really getting good now. 178.80. Let's put another bid down there. I'm still trying to hold a lot of these shares, man. Right now, I'm still holding like 85% of these. You know what? That makes me nervous. Let me put another bid out right there. I'll put another bid in the teens to get out some more, as we are holding a decent amount of this trade, and we want to make sure that we are able to cover. There, we just got 16, so that's good. All right, so just covering a little bit more down here as we, we've very often, like how Neil got out there, there's so many reload opportunities in this market, but I still want to be able to have some for that huge move down if it does exist. So, we can't get caught too much, and that's why daily goal is obviously important to have. As we had seen so many people in the chat there say like, okay, I met my goal, I'm out of here. Like most of the traders that I've seen successful are part-time day traders, and you don't need to be sitting in front of your screen all day, that's for sure. But right into here, watch out for the market now. It is starting to come back in. I didn't see that we had any numbers on the watch.
There's no economic
I just heard somebody say Philadelphia Fed.
It's Fed speak today. There was like some small number, nothing terribly significant.
Okay, good, all right.
No, it was like, it was economic optimism was the one. I had to look it up. It's like a 1 star.
Yeah, that's at 1010, and we never ever give it, so nothing to worry about there at all.
Okay,
it's like
good.
one of those like 1 star kind of events where you don't care too much. A battle. So if you're looking at the small cappers, those oil or energy small cap names, TPET is not holding the volume weighted average price at the open, which would have indicated to me that it could be a long. It's not doing it. Battle is. So I think I paid for locates. If this loses VWAP early, then it's that whole, gapper can't hold VWAP, look for the short. The oil names in general, like Oxy. Oxy is literally at the low of the day and actually red on the session. So oil names are coming back rather heavily. And we're really starting to bleed. NCLH now 3% to the downside here. So it looks like we are closing in that gap. As long as it keeps falling, I'm looking at 2030 is the ultimate target here on NCLH.
Appreciate you, Dane Generous, there in the chat, and everybody, following the trades today. We've had some good ones there, NCLH, we've had AMD. I've only had NVDA right there as, yeah, going to the downside. We still got on about 75% of this trade. I'm going to put another bid right here and see if we can't get her out right now. Sure, throw that super chat up there, my guy, and we'll see what it is right there.
Silver.
All right, silver 80. Okay, yeah, that's nice. That's a level that I'm. Yeah, that's a level that I'm looking at right there as well. We're nowhere near there, but shout out to Willis Addison. That's a great put right there. So boom, let's go. Please pay you. Yeah, you are getting paid today. That's down to $72 right now and looking like it wants to go a heck of a lot lower here. But we couldn't be happier with the trading here today already, man. We've already put up the numbers that we need. So yeah, I'm going to hold out. See, like we're going to cover a little bit more here. We're at VWAP. Like I said, there has to be a point where, you know, you start to tap out a little bit more than you're comfortable doing just because you've hit your levels, and you know that's just part of it. I mean, I just don't want to see this completely reverse back up. Then all of a sudden it's like the good trade idea that you had is squashed because you got a little bit too greedy. So I'm just going to start to empty out the clip a little bit here at VWAP. It doesn't look like it wants to get too much lower. Once we broke it, we did get into 178 and bounced. But right now you're just under VWAP and you're also at the 25 period, which is something that I've looked at a couple times. Let's put another bid down there at 178, like maybe 25. See if we can get another 10% out if it does get back into there. And then we'll put another one at 178.05. And there it is. Here we go. Let's go. And see if we can get that as well on the downside. I'll just bid right here, 35s. And then we'll get a little bit more out. And you know what? If it completely collapses, hopefully we'll have a little bit of shares left. And let's see if we can hold. We first would like to see that 178 break. If that happens, then that's when we can really hold out for that 177. But if we're just going to hover around and take out some of these levels now, maybe these are bouncing spots. So there's an out at 35. So it looks like that'll be okay. Now we'll just have to see from here where it's going. But yeah, so far so good over here. Only shorts so far, I guess, right? So that's exactly as we had planned.
Well, yeah, there wasn't really much to the long side that would have looked good. The energy names really didn't hold up, at least for myself. I'm sure there's probably a couple out there who were okay, but they look pretty bad. We just had a bottoming tail candle here on NCLH. I'm out looking for that VWAP retrace. So it went 35 to 70 before catching a bit of a buyer here. It could still go lower, but I'm playing for the reversion back into VWAP, and then we'll try to get short again. Just going back over to some of those energy names, like, I mean, Oxy is continuing, the 2% down on Occidental, and I know who cares about Oxy, I'll just show you guys oil futures here. Oil futures are at VWAP and holding. Oxy is dying and at the low of the day. So clearly there's something a little bit amiss with Oxy's chart in particular if you're watching it. And for those watching that battle, it's now back underneath the volume weighted average price. That does lead me to that TPET. It would have been nice if it could have held, but it didn't. We closed under VWAP, so I'm gonna look for the fade underneath the volume weighted average price. So the small cap oil names aren't looking nearly as strong as they did yesterday off the open.
Yeah, appreciate you there, Salvador. Good job there, man. As hopefully, you know, again, trade your own book and everything like that. And I hope you're able to get out of some of that trade as well. So there it is, man. You are the one, Salvador. And as long as you keep on, you know, printing for you. I mean, there's so many different names that you could have been trading today. We talked about, I mean, give it up for the target call as well, man. That's a, you know, a day maker for many of you, I would assume. We talked about Target with a good upside potential there. So there it goes. Huge move up for Target on that play as well. And Palantir's faded back out a little bit now, right? Like, this is what I was saying about this name. Like, give it a minute. And I even wrote that down on the note. And it was like, if that takes out that pre-market high, I think that's going to be a trade we're going to look at tomorrow because wow, and then rate up $4 and completely back down, waiting for it to base out right here, right now. We're going to try to hold out that, you know, NVIDIA goes lower into this market. We just covered a little bit more. We did get our 178.25, so that was pretty good. But right now, Palantir just trying to base out. I did like that Tesla long, sorry, down here. This is where it was yesterday before we popped, I believe. We looked at this trade there in the pre-market. Yeah, that was Heyo. That was 390 right there. We'll see if that comes into play. Again, 391, 392 right now for Tesla. That is very much downside. Come on, NVIDIA, get going a little lower. We had Anthony Noto come by and save the stock yesterday, and then not today as you come right back into $18. This is another name that got going straight away off the open and just can't hold bid. What up, miss?
I was just going to say, ironically, there was another positive catalyst in SOFI from this morning with MasterCard. They're basically going to allow MasterCard's global payment networks as a place of settlement for their SOFI USD stablecoin. Very aptly named, I guess, SOFI USD.
Right. All right, here we go. Thanks, Adara. That's another good story there. All right, here we go. It's NVIDIA, man, and it is the spinner right there. It's another one. We've got a couple of good shorts here. There it goes, Salvador. I don't know if you reloaded or not, but I did not because it didn't get back up to 180. And I'm not sure what I'll do if it does get back up there. Let me take another fill right now as we get back into it. Almost at our at double our goal right now. So we've been really lucky and happy to do that. I mean, Microsoft is another very interesting name. You know, it keeps getting hit and trying to find a base here around 4 bills. So this is another one that you got to pay attention to here as the markets are dancing just a little bit. I feel like NVIDIA is catching bids down here, not strays. So I don't know. Nasdaq, yeah, go ahead. We'll have to wait. The futures are going lower now.
We're looking at consecutive topping tail candles. The first candle on the Nasdaq, and the ES is the same thing, so it doesn't really matter. We just call it the market. Was a fail of the pre-market highs. The second candle is we're underneath VWAP again. It looks like we're failing the pre-market high again. I think that leads to some of the shorts. I did take that TPET or whatever this thing is called, TPET. Trio Petroleum. It's that small cap or under VWAP. If we break out above the one, it's about 182. I like to put the stop. I'm not going to put it at VWAP exactly, but give it a couple of extra cents. Want to play this one back into the downside. The reload in NCLH, you're going to have to wait, but maybe not too long. We're bouncing off of that low. I want 21.1. That's where VWAP is right now to try to get back into that one. Looks like TPT just tried to run TPET. Just ran some of those stops. If we close underneath, I don't mind getting back into this one. But I do remember yesterday, it was a scalp trade all afternoon when it held underneath the volume weighted average price. Granted, that was also the $1 level, so that's one thing to keep in mind. But I'll keep taking some pot shots at it as long as it sits in the range. But NCLH has got my mind now that we're getting a bit of a bounce. Well, we were getting a bit of a bounce. It just put its first green candle in and does not make it anywhere near to the volume weighted average price. What I did in yesterday's trade was look over to CCL, see if I can catch a sympathy short if the market was going to flush, because this wasn't as weak as NCLH. If I don't get a pop there, I can look for the breakdown in CCL instead. Both of them are weak. I mean, down 5 points in one, 6 points in the other. Mostly the same thing.
Yeah. The travel name's definitely a problem right now. Okay, like, you know, we've gotten some more out here of NVIDIA, and I'm pretty happy with it. So let's just move on to other names. And let's have a quick look to see what the dollar's doing right here today. Again, for dollar, I keep on looking for it, and I keep on losing where it is. Here it is, right here. Oh, that's Nat Gas. Nat Gas falling, actually going upside. That's a daily chart.
I got it, yeah.
Right here. So here we go. This is a 1 minute chart. U.S. dollar still relatively strong, but you know, just trend until that breaks. Here's the 50 period moving average, 99.3. So strong U.S. dollar. Not, you know, strong today, yes, but hasn't really given us those feels yet on the U.S. dollar. There's Fannie Mae. I was just looking at down 7%. I was just short this name. It's not doing anything. I was just looking at it there because it did hit the scanner. So I'm down $10 trading that right there. Not much going on Fannie Mae.
We do have we have a note from a member here. Member for 1 month is Fabian here. Yeah, hey, we got a Fabian on the ones and twos back there. Can you let me know what trading platform you're using and if there is any info about this chart setup, etc., in the Trade TV course? We are trading on the P8 system, P8 platform, which is proprietary to the Real Trading where we trade from. So yes, there's information available on the course as well. So I want to thank you for that note there. Fabian, easy name for us to remember.
Yeah,
we appreciate you. And there's never a bad question. If you're curious about what's the red line on your chart, Neil, or I don't know why I said it like that, just let us know. What are those triangles that you see on the charts, right? Like those are just entries and exits. Purple for a short, green is a buy, but and then red would be like a sell getting out, just answering a pretty simple question there. So looking for that pop on NCLH. We're starting to get back into VWAP. It looks like we're starting to get back into VWAP where I will try to get that reload. It is worth mentioning the short yesterday came all the way back to the original entry, so I wouldn't rule that out. If we do come all the way back into that 21.3, that's another spot that we would look to grab it. Not much else going on. Oh, there was there were some earnings we didn't have too much of a look at, unfortunately, because they weren't moving around as much. ASTS is one of them. So I'm going to slap the fail. I'm going to slap the fail on myself because this actually flat top broke. At ASTS, it wasn't doing anything in the aftermarket off of earnings. It basically was flat in the aftermarket and flat this morning. But that's a flat top break here at 88 on ASTS. So I call it a fail. There's not many things that were actually clean breakouts that you could have found on any chart today. This would be one of them, so AST is up 4%. And the entire space group got a little bit of a bounce when there was the talk of that SpaceX maybe getting an IPO. Well, it said maybe this month, but we haven't heard anything further, so I'm feeling pretty hesitant on that now.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's getting late.
I figure we'd have heard something by now if there was really a chance it was going to happen.
Yeah. I think we're getting into that area now where they should have released something if it's going to be March. And that would be nice if it was, but maybe near the end of March, something like that could start to kick out for that. But okay, just wanted to look back again. We were trying to look at the dollar, which we did do, but I wanted to look at maybe some more of the broader markets right now because it's been just a nasty. There's nothing green here at all unless you are looking right here at Costco. One green name, basically. I mean, Pan W. Oh, nice Pan W up. Adobe, Fortinet. So some of the cybersecurity names seem to be doing something, but just looks like Costco right here, and then there's Target down there as well. So we can go into the retail side of things. Target up 5%. That's our 4%. That's a good one. Costco right now upside as well. So that's going to be okay for us. Google, NVIDIA, Broadcom, Micron, everything down. Micron down 6%. I mean, that was a house of cards to begin with. So watch out for Micron trying to figure that out there again. Feds Williams now speaking, so you can watch out to see what happens right there. Prepared remarks by Fed Williams right now. Adara will have that as well. Caterpillar, everything. GUR, there it is, man. We can take a look at that. We know that there's some traders that were looking at GUR yesterday.
No, GUR is down 11%, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah, record earnings, wah, wah, wah. I don't have a key for that, so I just had to make the sound for myself. But down 10%. So we do have a key. I just don't have it apparently. So that's what GUR is doing. Invader Zim would not be proud. Let's go to Adara.
Not seeing anything from Feds Williams yet, but I am seeing some stuff here about Iran. Wall Street Journal reporting that Trump is open to supporting armed militias in Iran, though he hasn't made a final decision yet. So again, reportedly Trump open to considering armed militias in Iran, though no final decision as of yet. I do want to remind you guys, no economic data in 4 minutes, so there's no numbers to worry about. As we had Sean mentioned just now, Feds Williams is speaking. I am not seeing anything circulate here on X, so if I do get any of his comments, anything of note, I'll keep you guys posted. Nothing yet. Back to you.
All right,
so
go ahead.
Zion just asked a question. Oh, that's right, it was halted.
Zion Williamson or?
No, Zion in chat was like, would I short battle underneath the volume average price? Thank you, Randy. My answer is no. I'm looking at that TPET or TPET instead. I just think that was weaker yesterday, so if battle gets under VWAP, I'd short the other one instead. Thank you for this. Keep the hands warm.
Market is
well, the market's not looking that good, Randy. We haven't looked at your, hey, Ruby and Randy. We haven't looked at we haven't looked at Tesla this morning. Well, you did. Tesla, 390, 3% down, market looking weak. This is not much better. Oh my goodness, we're losing the 200 period here on Tesla, but we're right there. So look, we're only half an hour into the open, so we're very much the opening range being set, and you haven't really destroyed the low, at least fortunately for Tesla, but it's not looking very good. I have reloaded into NCLH, that's the only new one here.
Look at Fannie Mae, man. I told you, no problem showing you guys. There's the pink sheets. There it is, the downside, man. 60s downside right now as we're trying to bleed out. Now down 10% on Fannie Mae and looking lower right now as we go. Big day here. I mean, only shorted NVIDIA there. We just got another bid right there in the 60s. We're bidding 50s still to see if we can get a move down on that one. But Fannie Mae getting down to the downside. Yeah, man, Palo Alto, we bought that. I don't know if there's individual news on this.
Crowd's up too.
Adara there, yeah.
They're both up.
Yeah, Adara's looking right now. Palo Alto up. Yeah, I didn't see CrowdStrike on that board. Yeah, 380 there for CrowdStrike.
Initiate coverage on Palo Alto with overweight from Wells Fargo. They've given it a $200 price target, so that is a brand new coverage here for our friends at PANW. Also just seeing apparently Adobe, Michael Burry initiating a long position in ADB.
Yeah, we saw that.
And it actually is spiking a little bit more on the previous 15-minute candle than this one.
Yeah,
well,
so
it's just the whole, like, if you think the SaaS bottom is potentially in, like some of those stocks are really starting to do something a little bit different. So good for Adobe. You really do hope. You don't want them to fall forever, let's be real. And Mongo was this morning's, I guess, casualty in the space. It's still down 26%. It's off the lows, but it's right back to where we were at the open. So it did bounce off 230, didn't quite get down to those 220s. Mongo down 26%. It was this and C Limited were the two worst earnings names. Well, C Limited's about to pass Mongo if it makes a fresh low. That is now, well, almost in soul territory of, yikes, double-digit losers. So NCLH, we got the reload at VWAP, but yesterday it did get right back into the actual original entry point and triple topped up there for the short. So if we break VWAP, I'll jump out and look for the next available opportunity. The only trade that didn't happen yet, I mean, silver is trending down, but there was no pop to be faded. The chips gave you one. Silver doesn't seem to want to do anything but drift lower and lower and lower. I got to move away from that 77 to 78 and start thinking about any pop into VWAP just to get into this thing. If we trend down all day long, want to get a piece of that pie as well.
All right, man. Pie has been had. That is for sure. All right, let's just, I'm just looking for more opportunities here. So let me just go over and see what you guys are asking us to trade right now. All right, so here we go, man. This is the trade visualizer. Oh yeah, Battle, we should look at that. When that came into $23, we could have definitely had that long. And I even mentioned on the show, I was like, there we go, good to go long. And I started talking about something else that we were talking about. But all right, NVIDIA right there. That's the name that I've been shorting all day at 180. So, we're getting more and more out. We'll discuss that when we get back, no problem. Neil just looked at TPET there. SOFI down to $18, down 1%. There's that Mob Deep up 140% today is Mob X. Palantir falling on its face right now again, down to 141 and down. Big Bear AI battling back, man. Only down 4% there, 394. That's basically where it's been at. And actually, that's up from where it's been at the last week. There was RCAT Plug. Ooh, Plug Power, they reported yesterday as well. Microsoft holding out okay. The name that I really, really like, shout out to Ramin, I really like Netflix. Moving forward now, man, now that they've got that balance sheet figured out and they don't have to worry about that $80-something billion for Warner Brothers. I like it a lot. All right, there it is. Just looking right there. Watch out now as we're starting to go back up to the upside. I'm going to take out another piece here on NVIDIA. Like I said, we've sort of made our goals. We want to hold this up to that 180 break long right there just to see if it does go again. But I'm not going to average in. We're just, if anything, we're getting lighter on this here on NVDA. So, yeah, man, so far so good here. And we'll just continue to watch the board. Silver, as Neil mentioned, I can't get into it right now. It just keeps going lower. I mean, if anything, it's this 21 period. And maybe we should be, or 25 period. Maybe I should be respecting that and just going short rate now because we've been, hitting it down, hitting it down, hitting it down. One person that's been hitting us with tons of news lately and doing a great job of it. Thanks for the great watch list. One more time there today. It's Adara, and she's got her segment right now.
Thank you for the kind words there, Sean. Market not having too many kind words for the longs. Unfortunately, we gap down now, kind of just hanging out here. And I mean, the main news I've been giving you guys as of late has to do with Iran. We did have, of course, the idea that negotiations probably not going to happen here between the U.S. and Iran as of right now. That's mostly coming from Iranian media. Furthermore, Fed's Williams also making comments right now, apparently not talking about the impact of Iran on inflation, whereas we know certain other figures have. But he did say that further reductions in rates will, quote, be eventually warranted if inflation ebbs, but that the currency stance is the current policy stance is well positioned. So once again, Feds Williams, the next member, basically to downplay the speed and the necessity of rate cuts right now. Of course, with Iran on watch, you're still going to have oil on watch here. CVX initially gapping up, giving up a lot of that move, now kind of trading in today's range as we do get continued attacks here in Iran. OXY though faring way worse than CVX. This one actually not only giving up its gap up, but pushing near yesterday's lows. And I want to mention as well, another thing happening here with regards to Iran is that we currently have a subcommittee, a Senate subcommittee, Armed Forces right now. They're doing a hearing. They've already mentioned Taiwan. I think it's more about kind of domestic readiness than necessarily Iran, but given that Taiwan's already been brought up, just be aware, potentially could be market moving. I will keep you guys posted if there is anything of note there. Again, not super likely, but I'll be watching it regardless. MDB on watch. We know Neil and Sean both mentioned this one. MongoDB off its lows, but at its lows, it was actually posed for its worst session ever after its earnings report. Guidance kind of mixed on this one. TGT mixed report, EPS beat, sales miss for Target. But either way, investors seeming to like this report. Another report that did fairly well today, and a day where a lot of names got hit pretty hard, was Best Buy. This name also gapping up after earnings, despite kind of a mixed report. We're going to send you back over to Sean and Neil.
All right, guys. Right now they're back, and we're happy to have them. It is Trade the Pool. Basketball fans get March Madness, but what do traders and investors get this year? We get Market Madness. I like that. Trade the Pool is hosting the ultimate market bracket tournament, and you're invited. Pick your stock coach, join them during the draft night as they pick their top 5 hot stocks and battle it out for massive prizes and bragging rights all the way through April the 6th. Not pumped yet? You can also enter your own Market Madness bracket or pick your own core 5 stocks and outperform the champion to win a $5,000 evaluation account. Get ready, the draft is on March 5th. Okay, coming up. Scan the QR code right now to get into the game. Sounds exciting, man. Go in there, pick out some of the stocks, get that March Madness going for your accounts on Trade the Pool. So scan that QR code. Pretty interesting topic of discussion there. I mean, March Madness.
That's why I love March.
Coming through. And also, pick your favorite stocks right now for the competition. If you're going to enter a competition like that, obviously it's to get that evaluation account. You can, but I was going to say, like, if you're going for that, you can pick some wild names. We saw yesterday AVAV.
Like, you take shots in the stock market competition. Yeah. You don't take shots like that necessarily in a real NCAA bracket. Because the ones...
No, there's never any update.
Nowadays, the 1s and 2s going to win.
The NCAA is a fugaze right now. All the top names always are winning. It's like, yesterday it was like all number 1s
you have no idea how insane it is this year, too.
Is it? Okay,
Because the strength of the 2s is so... Like, you're not even going to have the upsets.
They've ruined college sports forever with all those transfer fees and everything. Literally forever. Okay, so here we go. Not the competition they ruined. But, okay, so here we go right now. There it goes, downside, meaning it's just going to be so top heavy. That's all. I feel really bad for those lower teams there. As you already saw, that Mendoza kid did wicked for Indiana. So there's an example of a team that won that didn't have the history behind it. So I guess that goes against what I was saying. But AVAV, 10% down right now, touched $200 yesterday. A good little level there. So talking about a name that could be good for the contest. AVAV. Look, just so you guys are aware, like, another out right there at 178.70. Like, we just keep getting it out, keep getting lighter and lighter on NVIDIA. We're not turning this day around on NVDA. Like, we're not going to go red or anything on it, and we're not even going to average in. We don't want this thing to get out of hand. The market's already shown that it does not mind being dip bought down there near those lows. So if you're going to talk about the Nasdaq dip buys, you're at 24.5 basically have been good levels. The very bottom, 24.460 or so. And it's just whenever you see something that looks like this in the market right now, where everything is crazy red, there's going to be, someone's going to come in and buy up some of these sectors, just thinking that they're going to be oversold. I would look at these manufacturing levels here. GEV down 6%, Caterpillar down 5%, Deere down 3%. Like, this is Cummins as well. A lot of these names getting hit here that probably deserve a little bit more than what they're getting. Intel down 6% right there. That's pretty ugly as well. So the names just keep getting hit here. AMD, if anything, NVIDIA, the name that I'm short, seems to be working out one of the best there. Micron, I told you, that's a big problem, man. This is a huge house of cards, I think, because production's just going to meet demand. And Micron fall down right there. Already down to 380, Micron, well off some of their highs. What's up, Adair?
Let's talk here about Fed Schmidt. We had Fed's William, now we have Fed Schmidt, and Fed Schmidt is laying down the law, saying that, quote, there is no room to be complacent on inflation and that inflation is hot with demand outpacing supply. So hardline stance here on inflation from Fed Schmidt. It is worth noting he actually dissented in favor of holding rates steady a couple of the last cuts that we got last year. So he has been notably hawkish, that hawkish trend continuing for Fed's Schmidt. I'm also getting some more news out of Iran and Israel. Ben Gurion Airport announcing that Israel's airspace will be opening gradually as of Wednesday evening. So tomorrow evening. Back to you.
Thank you, as always, Daryl. I should actually hit the key. We haven't done that yet, so we'll do it now.
Dara.
The president saying thank you. We did get the low of the day again there on NCLH. So we're going right back to VWAP. It looks like it's not going to be heading, at least for now, going to be heading into this triple top. So volume weighted average price for now has worked twice. We'll play it a third time through if we can. While that was all going on, though, Intel got to that. It actually did break 143, which I did like. And it done so a couple of times. And then was barcoding right underneath VWAP, took it right here underneath 43, just giving it to the even dollar stop, but it immediately broke out. So we'll get out of that. To me, if it's not flat bottom breaking, like losing this bid, which it did technically, so I could slap a fail because I did say if this loses 43, that was a short, but I was trading NCLH, looking at other things at the time. It did work, but now you're back above 43. So if we're back above support lines, I don't want to touch it. If it fails on the 15-minute and gets back underneath this 43 even, then I would jump back over to the trade. But for now, I'm going to wait for the opportunity to get back into NCLH on that trend down. For a couple of days now, the travel names have been a little bit weaker, and this one hasn't stopped working. Yeah, that TPET is back above VWAP and Battle. If you're looking at those energy small cappers, low floaters. Battle hasn't really retaken the high to break out yet, but it is trending up into a bit of a flat top break at 30. And then TPT, which we took a quick swing at, tight stop there underneath VWAP, it's trending up as well. So I said if this can hold VWAP, it looks like a long. It has. It's now got a nice little trend into the highs. So I want to buy some dips here. The confirmation didn't come in. It came here at VWAP when I was trading at NCLH, but looking pretty strong now. Both of these small cappers in the oil space.
Okay, just watching out here. This is another one, SE, C Limited, there with their report hitting day's low right now, SE. So just watch out here as there's another name that's looking to get just a little bit lower right now off earnings. We talked about MongoDB and a few other trades like that, and there's SE making lows again, of course, there, as you can see that. And then here we go. We also have another name trying to come through right now, and that, of course, is going to be, not NVIDIA. I want to go to MongoDB, was another name that hit lows and tried to bounce and has. So there's Mongo down there, 229. I just want to double check before I said it has bounced. We saw that low there and a nice little retracement back up, which made me I thought maybe C Limited could be doing something very, very similar to that, but it does not look like it again. All right, man, I'm not going to give it all the way. We could. I'm just thinking right now, you can clearly see, I'm just going to bid some more out here at 60s, that NVIDIA's obviously catching a bid here while the market kind of isn't. So NVIDIA relatively strong compared to the rest of them. We'll bid something else down here in the 20s, and then we'll just let it go. And if we get stopped out back upside, we can just hold on to that one and take the fill where the fill lies. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. If anything, we're going to switch gears now because it's kind of just, let's let it settle down. We're wasting our time. Palantir looks like it wants to hold these levels. We had talked about a 139 bid, but that, that was in case we dipped. It doesn't look like we're doing that. And right now we're trying to hold a bid at 141. So this is going to be an interesting trade for me if it does come lower and we decide to make a move here on PLTR. I mean, it would be nice to see the futures extend out, which they're trying to do right now. Looks like you're breaking the 21 period, so I don't mind that. I'd rather go long like above all these levels, but right now with the market where it is going to be tough to find names that are above VWAP or anything, and that's generally the ticket for me on that one. So let me just go over to the futures and have one more look over here to see. There it is. I mean, this is a good break, because then we get the VWAP and the 200 period moving average working together for us there. So maybe the futures are a little bit of a better trade than Palantir is not. I don't really like Palantir actually because of where we are. And I just wanted to say, like, because I write it down early that I like that long at 139, like, look, this action is not telling me to go long. It's 10:20, 10:15 right now. Things are going to change, and right there, here it is. Downside right now. William's talking about how the current economy is secure for wealthy households. Okay, when is that
when
never
is that not
not
true?
true? So did he put that into AI to get that answer or what? But that's what's happening right now in that one. Marvell, I think, gets a bounce at some point. I really like this stock heading into Thursday night's earnings, Marvell.
You're the dumbest thing I've ever. I don't think I've ever heard a more asinine comment from a Fed member before.
I mean, there must have been something else behind.
No, I'm sure there's some there's got to be some context to that. That's just a ridiculously, that's a bad quote, and it's not a good look either. So I'm looking at some of the same things here. I want to pull back into VWAP on TPET to join trend. I want to pull up into VWAP for the third time in NCLH. If at any point we break this prior low at 21, or prior high at 21, the lower high, then I can jump out of the trade. But I want to try to catch this one on the flip side. And then Trio? Trio Petroleum, which is this. If it doesn't get to VWAP, it's not long enough for an upward trend, but it could at least bounce off these prior highs here. If that continues to happen, I might try it at $2 instead of waiting for the volume weighted average price. So for now, it's trending down and looking like it's going to try to pick us up at VWAP at $1.80 to $1.85. But if that doesn't happen and we hold this consolidation here, I can try to grab it back through the $2 level for sure. And Christopher Claude, yeah, I'm barely in any trades because that's how I roll. I try VWAP here with a tight stop. I wait for NCLH to set it up for me. And it did so once, twice, thrice. I'm going to play it back into the low again, just looking for the structure of the trade. If it's not there, it's not there. And if it does give you the good entry, then you take the trade. But, I'm not just going to trade things in the middle and force things at prices that don't make any sense. Yeah, you just don't need to. Maybe this doesn't get back to VWAP, and I don't get it a third time, but it did. So we got our third crack here at NCLH. Let's see if we can get to the lows. And we got a super chat that I see is about a name that, once again, we are managing to neglect, even though it is. I see it. Throw the super chat up there. This one actually is on our stock visualizer at number 4, if we can. Oh, there we go. What's the play on Netflix? My guess is it's probably long again because it's been pretty strong recently, but I haven't looked at Netflix today. Ooh, under VWAP. Not breaking out the highs. Okay, this doesn't look as good as it has the last couple of sessions, unfortunately. Good strong open, but right back on and holding underneath VWAP. But you know what? It did this the last couple of days. There were tests under VWAP before you started going. So I would let this one, let it do its little lazy jaunt under the volume weighted average price. If past 10:30 we can start catching some bids, then you pick it up a little bit later, because that's been a bit of a pattern the last 2 days. I think the bottom in the 80s is in. I still favor long, but I don't like the look of the chart yet.
We're trying to get some 179.25s now, as we're just doing what we do, man, and trying to figure out what stocks, as Neil mentioned there, what stocks to trade, what levels to trade off of. I mean, I really feel bad that I didn't take that Palantir short there at that 21 period. We were talking about that play, and now it's down about $1. More than $1. I mean, that was 141.50. Well, I guess $1. 141.50. It does touch down to 140. That could be a good 140 break again as the market goes lower. And there it is right there. The face slapper continues for me on NVIDIA right there. So, yeah, just looking to see what we can do. Let's see what silver's up to right now. As silver and gold. All right, so, actually, it looked like it was trying to base out there. Takes out the 25 period moving average, takes out the 50, and now heading back lower. If we can see a rejection of VWAP, which we basically just got right there, obviously we got within about 50 cents or so of that level, but it looks like we are going to try to retest some of those lows. 71.70 break lower right now. Looks like it might be imminent on SLV, so we'll have to watch and be patient on that one. Down 11%. We want to thank you guys every single day. Thank you so much, Finch Jane there. Grateful for Sean and Neil doing the show every single day. Hey, man, we're here, get paid to be here and love to be here, obviously. I'm here no matter what. We've both been here 20-something years, so all good there. And I used to actually, I was actually pulled off the trading floor by Real Trading when I was 23 years old. And told to manage a bunch of people a lot older than myself. And that was a lot of fun. And then brought Neil on board, brought a whole bunch of people on board that are currently still working with Real Trading. So the history is deep with me in hiring people there. And, just a success rate of those traders, even though, you're bound by your own trades, it is a very, very tough business, and that is for sure. So, practice trading very, very safely early on. And until, there's a lot of traders, at Real Trading that will use, very, very small share sizes because they're working on their strategies, and I think that there's nothing wrong with doing that regardless of what level you're at. You want to make sure that, you're not blowing up accounts and your capital is safe. So, trust your strategies until, you have something consistent and then go hard with them. And there goes NVIDIA. Booyaka. As there it goes, man. It doesn't, as Neil said, man, it doesn't take many trades. It just takes great ones, or decent ones, or good ones, or bad ones, and make sure you get out of the bad ones. But there's NVIDIA right now. This stock is just an absolute monster today. It's the only stock that I've traded, and for me, it's been great. And we should have reloaded it there at 180. Again, we made it on our note, and this is where it's like, and talk about experience. Something didn't look great when that last time it made that move up. So right here on the sticky note is NVIDIA 180 short. So I took it early because, that's the work that we have done, right? We did that work at 180. We liked it. So we took it basically 4 fills up there. It just came right back in. So I could have trusted myself, thought the market was starting to ramp up a little bit. It looked like NVIDIA might have found a base down here, and I still think it might have, and just didn't want to risk that was going to push through. And although we wouldn't have given back, we would have maybe given back 20% or so. Like, let's just say this is 3 or 4 units. I should have put on 1 more unit there. But that 1 unit, making a move up there and losing 60 cents on it, hurts. Especially when some of these moves, most of them are more than 60 cents, but you never want to give anything back. But anyways, we'll be out. We have no LFT. We'll be at our highest spot, and pretty happy with the trade today. Just wish we had shorted, I guess, Palantir. Wish we had shorted the Nasdaq, but that's why today is a long day. Every day, we don't have to worry about your P&L until about 4 o'clock, and when you close it out. So we'll be looking for more and more trades here as the day goes on. But the Nasdaq right here, and I'm glad that we're both short, starting to get to the lows again.
Well, we're tracking, the ES is actually catching up too, so it's not just the Nasdaq. We're getting close to 2.5%. We're looking at at this rate, we're looking at one of those 3% days. I'd have to ask ChatGPT, or actually I don't use ChatGPT, I use Gemini. Gemini, the last time we saw a 3% down day, I don't know, but it's been a minute. Usually we bounce off the 2. That'd be a good guess. It sounds about as good as any. I am back into Intel. It lost that 43 again. Just waited for it to lose the 43 flat bottom. It happens to be breaking a trend on the 3-minute as well. So want to play this back into the low of the day. Still looking at that battle for everybody, because I'm looking at
some guy here, Chuck of all trades, loving battle right now.
It's still strong. It's holding 28 over VWAP, but it still hasn't broken out that 30 level, which was some pre-market resistance. There, I'm actually fighting a sneeze. Don't sneeze. I think sometimes if you don't do it. Yeah. And then TPT, we're trying to grab that one off the average price. NCLH getting pretty close, right at that low of the day again. So if I see buyers each time, the buyers actually stepped up at $20.70. This time, no one's on the bid, so I think we could flush through. But I have a trail back in through about 72. So this has gone VWAP to low, and then once again, shockingly, VWAP to the low of the day. As Yeah, it's not looking very good for the markets. I do believe it's past, well, yeah, it's past 10:20, which does mean we're going to Adara. Time to look at the small caps with the small cap recap.
Let's kick off here with a repeat offender from yesterday. That would be Trio Petroleum, TPET. This one here, this is an oil play, just continuing to gap up and trade higher after strength yesterday. So no news, but nice and actually strong continuation. Let's take a look here at Plug Power, PLUG. A bit of a larger market cap, of course, but nice move to the upside for this one. Double beat, adjusted EPS, better than expected, and sales also beating estimates quite handily. Last but not least, MOBX, this one, MOBX as it was called earlier, was mentioned, of course, earlier today, actually has a catalyst getting a major U.S. Navy Tomahawk missile production order here for high reliability filtering components. Back to you.
You know, just here, I just put it out, man. I mean, I want to thank all 56,000 of you. I mean, we've really been growing the Twitter following, and I think this is part of the reason why. Today's sticky note there, 180. I see some people in the chat wondering about it. What is this guy talking about? There it is right there. Nothing else hit. Actually, Palantir's getting close to 139 right now. Let's go have a quick look at that. But there's NVIDIA 180 short, and, you know, the only stock there. And it only takes one, man, and now it's $2+ again and moving lower into the lows one more time here. I'll just bid out another piece. We are getting lighter. We only have 10%, unfortunately, right now left of that, and I think it's okay. That is all good on that trade. Okay, so that's NVIDIA. And then we said we look at Palantir 139, but I don't like... That's right where it is right now. We've now broken out, like, down, not out, but this is like just a huge jailbreak there into sort of yesterday's levels. So this could be something to look at, I think, for a bid here on PLTR. If it does settle down a little bit, we could look. I mean, it's at 139. We wrote down 139. Let's give this a, I don't know, though. The market is just so far down. I'm going to hold off on it, but we can always look back and see if 139 is the trade for us. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's at a key level. Let's try. Okay, let's just try. Okay, I just tried to buy 10s there. Now we've got some 10s. We're long 139.10. What is the low? 133. That's obviously not the low. Let me just double check right here. So we're actually at the low right now. That's 130. 890. We got to give it a little more than that. Let's give this one to 138.74. We'll give it 35 cents to see if we can make a little bit more here on PLTR, and then we'll just go from there. We'll take a little bit more here at 139 and give it that 25 cents. That should be well worth it here for PLTR. It's at some levels. Maybe we get a bounce, maybe we don't. There it is. We're long at 139.05. So risk on right now, 30 cents for PLTR. Maybe worth it in case we get a bump up. But all right, here we go, man. President Trump, yeah. Okay, there. Wow, that was fast. There goes the move right down. So there goes the move on Palantir. We are questioning that trade. We have put half a unit on, and there it goes. Nice move down on Palantir. I mean, it's fine because NVIDIA's bleeding, but Palantir, we lose on that one. So there's a quick little loss. And just so you guys know, lost 5% of what we made on NVIDIA there. Oh, well.
We just got a super chat from Nick Dubb. Thoughts on XTIA squeeze? Okay, Nick. Always have to let you guys know if we haven't looked at this symbol at all today. And first things first, it's 1025. It's done 800,000 shares. So we're probably not talking about a day trade, I would assume. You must be looking for some kind of a bigger... What's the catalyst here? Because it's hard to squeeze if you're not breaking out some levels. You're barely breaking this $2 high, and the bigger ones are going to be over here at 230 and maybe 250. So what makes this do that? Right? Like, it's an aerospace name, but it's in need of a catalyst to break it out. So I get it. Long consolidations on these penny-style stocks can be good when they break out and shorts have to cover. I just wonder what the catalyst would end up being there. That would be my one question for you, Nick. But I see what you're getting at. Not for me, and definitely not a day trade. Intel just popped back into the low of the day, so it tagged the double bottom. I'm out on the trend break. If I was shorting it high, I would have shorted it at VWAP. But if it's going to be from VWAP, it's to the low of the day on a trend. And NCLH continues lower. I have a trail now back in through that low. The market's still flushing. I don't know what else we can put. Here, we'll do this. I feel if you can't use the gates of hell on a day of the market's down 2.6%.
Yeah, when can you?
When else are you going to use it? Hey, Moihar. I'm guessing. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, apologies. Thank you for the super chat. Oh boy, UVIX has still got the juice in the scary market. Run baby, run away. Ooh. So that's like just it's a 2 times levered VIX. So obviously this goes up when the market's headed to the downside for obvious reasons, but this is 2x levered. It's holding trend. The only thing is the market's at the lows, and this is usually going to be at a resistance spot, the VIX, but I'm going to pull up the chart of the actual VIX just for myself here, because I think the key levels are usually more reliable when you look at it specifically for the VIX. Yeah, we're not at resistance. We're above that 25, kind of at the overnight. We're lower than the overnight high. So there's some room for us to go in volatility still, which would suggest we could break these lows. Yeah, so I would tend to think the trend is your friend at this point.
Thank you so much, Zion, man. You are right about that one. It is a face slapper here on NVIDIA. There it is. You also mentioned, it's Chuck of all trades, sorry. We do have, it was right there. Oh, there it is, Zion. Oh, he says sticky no collar. That's what it was. Okay, well, anyways, thanks for that one. We'll get that going out for you as well. Make sure you guys do definitely check it out all over the place, man. We all have our notes up, and you can see the way we're trading here live on the shows. There it is right there, sticky no call out. Thank you for calling that out one more time there on the show. We want more and more people to join us all over our socials as well. I have an active Instagram account, so you want to go look at that there as well as Twitter. All right, so let's have a look at Apple. I mean, the market is like, wow, really coming back in. See some strength maybe in Apple, if that exists. I mean, Apple's only down right now 0.7. So, you know, if this market wants to get going, we could see an Apple trade at some point here as we're bouncing off these lows of 262. So that could be a good level to get involved with there on Apple. I mean, I think we would just so much prefer the short right now in everything than Apple, that's for sure. But yeah, right there, nice move lower here for Apple, but holding the bids. So that would be an area to potentially look for some strength. I'll check out what Anthony Noto's up to today. He's not up to anything that great.
Maybe he's down
to $17.75 again, as that got up to $19 yesterday. SOFI, yucky, right now to the downside. Maybe we catch a bid here on SOFI. What does that look like from yesterday's levels? 1770, okay, it's starting to catch one here on SOFI. Maybe the bids are starting to step up, 24.3 on the Nasdaq. We said that we could get into yesterday's sort of the overnight lows. It looks like we just did that, so we'll pat ourselves on the back for mentioning it, but we don't have the short. So, well, we have the short in NVIDIA, which is now $2.15 in the money, and that's working out well. But yeah, the Nasdaq right now below the overnight level there. So a lot of worrisome hands in today's market, that is for sure, as we continue to bleed down there. More covering on NVIDIA, potentially at 177. I am bidding down there, 177.60s, so if we can get that, all good, but maybe the market eventually bounces. I just don't know. I'm waiting for that sort of big volume spike or something to happen here in the market to show us the way.
Headline, you never know.
Yeah, some sort of a headline or something.
That's the thing. It's all quiet with data today, so it'll probably be, I'm guessing, some kind of a headline if we're going to get some kind of a big turn or anything along those lines. I'm now out. It was low today on Intel, but here on NCLH, it did break the low and then immediately kind of wick that bottom a couple of times. So first green candle is a bit of a trend break, so I'm going to jump out. Similar to earlier, I'm going to jump right back in on that volume weighted average price if we're able to get it. So, you know, not much has changed yet. If this does eventually break VWAP, I would at least consider a reversal long, but we're not at that point. Intel, which was our other short trade, which we just got off VWAP, very similar story. It bouncing off the low of the day, looked to reload this one at the volume weighted average prices. We are starting to get a little bit of a bounce. And Wendy's Tendies, I love that name. I haven't had Wendy's in a minute. My daughter's been in love with A&W recently. If she wants a burger, she wants A&W. So even McDonald's not as much. But IBIT through VWAP. Okay. You know what? I'm a little surprised here. Relative strength in Bitcoin. Markets under VWAP and bouncing off the lows. And IBIT's actually breaking out. You might be onto something, Wendy's Tendies. Yeah, this might, I hate to say this, but when you're breaking through VWAP when everything else is busting off the lows, that usually signals it should be a trend long, and it's got a nice uptrend. So you might be onto something. I want to look at BMNR just in case, because sometimes when Bitcoin is going up, this one will be trailing the move. I'm short biased, what can I say? So if I see it turn around, like BMNR is already like 1,000 times weaker, so this could give you a fade on that move up in Bitcoin, but I didn't pay for locates this morning on BMNR, unfortunately. So I'll have to go ahead and do that, and then if this curls off VWAP, then Bitcoin's move could give me a reason to get into this.
I just said we were looking for some volume to come in right here. So looks like we might have got it. We just got up into the 25 period moving average right there, and then faded off of that. Looks like we might have got bought up right there near 46 and change on the TQQ. So I'm going to try something down there. I'll try a little bit now, see if we can get going on this bid right now. But there we go. So now we're long. I was actually going to use, you know, we're trying to get involved here, but not too crazy into this because we just failed off of there. But it looked like we might have finally started to get going. So we'll see if it does hold. We'd probably like to hold this even back into prior bar low, like 45.85, something like that. So let's just do that, 45.84s. Just, it's 10.33. Maybe we're getting a bounce back. Maybe we are not. We're long right here at 46.07. We'll try to get maybe a little bit lower here if we break 46. But again, this is not like a price sensitive thing. This is just a triple levered NASDAQ product. So it's not like it's going to bounce off 46 bucks or anything. So we're going to have to wait to see what the action trade is here. But we're back to, well, we're flat on this trade right now. You can join me if you want. But I'm just going to use this bar in case there is a NASDAQ rally back. And if there's not, man, we'll stop out, and we'll stop out pretty easily on this one down here near 85. We could hold it all the way to the bottom. It's just, I'd rather, if it's going to come back into here, I'd rather sort of punch the long again if we hold one more time, rather than just let it bleed all the way down and just punch out at the very bottom. So that's what I'm going to be doing here as a quick little strategy for that. And we're able to get more out, obviously, of NVIDIA. I mean, I don't want to see the market tank here because I have more shares on the TQs. I have 10 times the shares right now on the TQs that I do on NVIDIA. And here it is right now. So we're long at 04. There's our last fill on that. We'll see if it can rally back up, man. We'll see if we could take a dime piece or so at 15 if it does give us that. But for right now, we're long right here at 04 on the TQQs, just seeing if we can hold prior bar. And if we do, then great. But there it goes. Upside play for me right now on the TQQs. Let's see if we got some juice just to get back there to the upside. Like, I don't know what story is going to rally this thing, honestly, because we have oil, obviously, all to worry about. There's the oil trade, 77 and change, still up 8% right there. But maybe the NASDAQ wants to bounce a little bit. I don't know. Tesla's 387. That's getting worse and worse here.
87, so that's really lost.
I thought that would bounce at 390 there, but
unfortunately, looks like so people are putting in Mongo. I'm finally into TPET. That's just what I'm calling this one. Trio Petroleum. It didn't get to VWAP, but it's broken. It's breaking this trend. So it finally, showed some kind of a long. I'm not going to give this to VWAP. I'm just going to give it to this prior bar low because it's a bit of a trend break into the high of the day. MongoDB, which I know Adara is involved in. Dead cat bounce, SSR bounce, whatever you want to call it. It is looking very, very good. So up to almost $250. This is one of those, if it doesn't hold the low, or if it does hold the low, then there's only one place for it to go. We've seen this earnings season with the names that are down, not necessarily 10%, but when you get to that like 20% stretch mark, if you bounce off the open, then it's just short covering, short covering, short covering. The stock has been getting destroyed. Actually almost cut in half from some of those highs. Not good guidance, but it was already down so far, some of those software names, and looking pretty good for them. The other trade which I'm monitoring on this bounce is going to be Intel back into VWAP. It's almost there. We're getting close. So it's trying to get it back into the volume weighted average price. If we can press just a little higher, want to re-enter that short, as chips still look weak to me. You're putting in lower highs all the way through. I almost feel like I could get involved here in the 60s instead of waiting for that 80 mark for the perfect price. Back on Intel.
And NASDAQ figuring itself out. We're almost got our 10 cents on the Qs, and hopefully we'll be able to do that. It's at 14s. There it is. It's at 15. So we'll go face slapper again and make a little bit back here on the Nasdaq. So there it is. We get 20s again. Yeah, let's go, man. Face slap again. Let's just keep it going. Hey, we like glizzies. There's a little hot dog cannon. Let's go right now. That's what we're talking about. Props it up, man, to everybody there. Let's go back to the futures one more time here and give it back to the TQQs because we like it. Nice move higher there on the Nasdaq. Let's see if we can just make a little bit more of a move. The 50 period is at 40. Then if we can get back to VWAP, I mean, VWAP would be awesome. That's basically where we opened. So let's see if the market really wants to get going because we like it. Nice move there. Hopefully you guys are with me, man. We bought that down there. It was a good little level, man. We're up almost 50 handles now on the NASDAQ as we get going now, 46.30. We're long at 46.03. So there it is, man, just as quick as you like. And we said this already, like you could look for as many trades as you want. Till you find it, that's when you pull the trigger. And oh boy, did we do that down there. We even got a reload when it broke 46, and we talked about that trade as well. I hope you guys have some of that as now it's going upside. We'll take another piece out there at 27 if it goes right now and just absorb some of this trade in for the TQQs. Nice move higher right now, but let's not count our sort of chickens before they hatch. Let's get another piece out at 20 right there. As we do not know if this market, there we go, now we get 27. So Sirens up right there. And so for some of you that were looking for longs, there it goes. Nice move there, upside on the long. We're pretty happy, obviously, with trading here today on the TQQs. And I was just looking at Netflix. And, you know, I was thinking that this one might be the one as well. I'm going to get another piece out there at 20 on TQs. Bounce off the 200 period clean as you like right there for Netflix bouncing. All right, it's 10:38, 10 minutes until we find out what's for lunch. What's up, Adara?
As Kermit the Frog once said, it's not easy being green, and that's certainly the case for the market today, unless you are communications. That's right, the smallest sector by far in terms of number of tickers is the only one with any kind of green majority here. You've got Verizon and AT&T each up about 1%. T-Mobile roughly flat, but slightly positive on the day. Other than that, it is so much bloodshed. We'll start with kind of what's weakest and work our way to fairly neutral. Non-energy minerals really getting hit here, again, with metals weakness. Newmont down about 10%. You've got producer manufacturing. This is going to be bright right across the board. Lots of weakness in electronic tech. Micron, Intel, KLAC, Amphenol, ANET, they're all going to be hit roughly 5% or greater. Intel also, despite a positive catalyst with Infosys today, down about 6%. Process industries weak, consumer durables weak, transportation weak, utilities weak, you guessed it. Finance red across the board, same with health tech. Now, in terms of names that are slightly less red, you're going to have energy minerals, of course, with oil relatively strong. There are some bright spots here, including strength in ConocoPhillips, EOG, and Valero. I know Sean's mentioned that one a couple times. We also have tech services with some relative strength, mostly in software. Adobe up today. We know Michael Burry reportedly getting involved in this name. Accenture, ServiceNow, and Palo Alto Networks also relatively strong. So some of these software names which have gotten beaten up as of late, trying to get a little bit of a relief rally. Other than that, just tons of weakness here, guys. I cannot overstate that. Back to you.
You cannot overstate it. There's a lot of weakness, but the market is battling back here. Before I get to BMNR, which is at VWAP and at an early trend line, TPET, with the market going back up, it's of course on the Amex. Give it a second, there it'll load. There, he just came back in and lost that prior bar support. So I'm in and out. This one a couple times. This will be the red stock. Thankfully, some of the other names will be able to make up for it, but I'm going to back away from this one. Do not like it anymore. It's kind of just sort of chopping it up in either direction. IBIT is breaking out, and as I said, lagging it a little bit is BMNR, but this is starting to break out above the volume weighted average price. If it had failed VWAP, that would have been a short, but a close here holding VWAP, that would suggest that you can head back into some of those highs. Just look at this on the 15-minute. Like on the 15-minute, you ignore that topping tail candle. This is a trend break on the 15. And that's why I like to use a 15-minute for this. If it closes above, we get this close in about 4 minutes or so, then I actually will look for BMNR to the long side. But there's still 4 minutes for that 15-minute candle to set me up here. And if Bitcoin continues to rally, I would suspect that a treasury name like this, I know it's ETH, but ultimately a mover is a mover. We'll jump back into. I am still on the offer for NCLH to reload this. It just hasn't come back into VWAP for the 4th time. So if this does get to the volume weighted average price, I will take another shot at it. If it blows through, then I'll get out and we'll end up, the last one. Sometimes when you reload off a key level, the last time you're gonna lose, but I'll play this on trend. It worked all day yesterday off of a key resistance spot. Today, it's seeming to be respecting the volume weighted average price on NCLH. So I will go back to the well on this particular name. 2 days in a row, it's been pretty good, regardless of what the market's been doing. Even when the market bounced yesterday, these names just continue lower. I can't think of a reason why, to be honest with you, that the cruise lines would look good in the short term. Yeah, ultimately, there's a lot of reasons people won't want to travel as much. Yeah, it's hard to like this. And they also missed on their guidance, which is not a good look.
All right, thanks everybody for the positive comments. I mean, there goes the Nasdaq, man. We just got some out there at 40 as we watch to see where this name goes. And yeah, just right there, took out the 50-period moving average. A little bit of a fade here. Let's get an offer at 27s again. We'll take some fills there as we wait to see where it goes from here. But yeah, more upside. I think we could probably stop out, if this does break sort of that low that we had at 45.96 right there. So I'm actually going to, well, now that we're out more, let's give it to where we were going to, prior bar low right there. So not bad. And again, we're long at O's. That prior bar low is 15. So we're just about 2-to-1 right now on that one, as it's a fruit salad kind of a day and a trade. It's not fruit salad, what's for lunch? We're going to do that very, very soon. Better not be tilapia. Okay, let's go check out some of the banks. And I know Adara just did the overview there today of, and just showed like there's not much going on for the green side of things, and that is 100% right. And that's what we were trying to show you earlier, where we looked and we said, like, what sector is trying to go here? It looks like the financials might be the one that's battling back. JP Morgan only down 0.6 right now, so we'll see if that can battle back. Goldman still getting crushed, down another 3%. Morgan down another 3%. Man, Blackstone, BlackRock down 6.5%. There's BlackRock right there, 2%. So the Stone right there, downside. Blackstone down 7%. That's not great. There's Robinhood, yuck. Still hasn't broke through 70. That's sort of the key level there for Robinhood. It's been like that for a minute, so we'll have to wait to see if that 6% wants to hold or not. IBKR down 4. So there's like a lot of sort of not great plays happening right now in the financial space. And we looked at SOFI yesterday. We got that bump from Anthony Noto, again, giving everybody that sort of, bless you, that $1 million purchase, which I was like, dude, when moon, like 1 million shares, you got to get a little bit more than that going on, Anthony. But that's the financials there, looking not the greatest to talk about today, but a level that could battle back. And here's JP Morgan, just real quick. We're still under 300, but a $300 break gets us going a little bit, now down 0.8, but a battle back. There's that movement that we've been talking about, right? So nice upside play there for JP Morgan, at least looking like they're trying to make something happen there back on the north side of that trade. So they're trying to go. And then SoFi, last time we looked at it, it had that great little look there on the low end, now bumping right back up to VWAP one more time as SoFi.
I find my attitude to SoFi is it's so much prove it to me, and I'm not that excited for these bounces that don't follow through. You're not tricking me right now, SoFi. You're just not. Follow through needs to break. You got to hold, you got to break, prior day highs. Show me that we're really breaking out of this downtrend. Yeah, you've got a kind of a weird reverse head and shoulders thing happening here, but Anthony's going to have to buy a few more shares to pick it up a little bit. So Intel back into the volume weighted average price. I'm there, I'm here, and on NCLH for one more shot. If these blow through VWAP, then I'm done with the short on both of them, at least temporarily. And then BMNR does close that 15-minute candle above the volume weighted average price. So it looks like this is going to end up, and this is what I'm showing you guys. There's a 15-minute. We opened the next candle above that breakout price. So we open with the break and give it to that prior bar, which is about 19.4. So if I can I'm sitting at like 48, I think. Actually 47, trying to get long, and then play it back into this prior bar candle. As Bitcoin and ETH and crypto leading the charge back to the upside. It's been interesting to see that that market bottom was actually started the biggest move on BTC. so to speak. So I want to join the party on BMNR and just play this one for a little bit of catch up into its high of the day. Apparently BBAI is bouncing. As well.
One of the greatest stocks in the stock market. There goes Palantir, guys. I mean, boy, did we nail that one. That was a good idea. I mean, you know, we kept getting stopped out down there, and we almost. So again, man, my hat's off to you guys if you're able to hold on to that one, because we probably, damn. They talk about, you know, a P&L changer, that is for sure. But we did get stopped at 138.25 on that one. Came right in. We were looking at it at the right spots, man. It's just couldn't withstand that last little dump down. And whatever, we got into, look, I made more money. Well, we'll see if we're going to make more money on the TQQs. But that was going to be a good opportunity down there for Palantir. Like the stock, really like the stock, obviously, as it's a big long-term holding of mine. Getting lighter, obviously. The last time we sold it was looking pretty good at 175 there. But yeah, Palantir right now, good bottom there at 138 and change. Let's see if these futures want to get going again. We might as well take another piece. Let's just take a small piece at 25 if we're there. It is, if we're able to get it, because that's the 50-period moving average. We're going to try to hold on to this. I still think there's a much bigger move coming to the upside. You know, if we have a great stop zone now. And I want to thank Zion and everybody else who's in the chat there. I forget, there's been a couple of you that are talking about it. Salvador, sorry, talking about great hold on NVDA. Yeah, man, 230 in the money right now. This is the play that we wanted yesterday when we had the shorts and we kept getting stopped out of them. And then we had that huge short call there in the afternoon as well. We traded silver, but the Nasdaq really fell off. So I still think there's some more downside, man, down 2.3%. right now. All right, we can go to Adair. We have money talks, or do what? Let's throw to her now, and if whatever she wants to do, she can do.
Thank you, Sean. What I want to do is I want to do money talks. I also want to talk about some of these Iran headlines we have coming in. These specifically to President Trump. Reportedly, a couple different interviews coming through here. He reportedly said to Politico that Iran is, quote, running out of launchers. He also, in a different interview, as reported by the Wall Street Journal, said that Iran was running out of crucial armaments, furthermore saying he'd be open to working with certain surviving members of Iran's ruling regime. So there's been a lot of questions about regime change in Iran. Either way, it sounds like, according to this Wall Street Journal report of this interview, Trump is apparently open to working with certain members of the ruling regime. Let's switch over to the U.S. dollar, which is, I mean, this uptrend from that weakness on January 27th, just holding so strong. Nice breakout as of yesterday, but continuing today. Now, we are at this point, at least briefly, touching our highest level so far this year. Previous high of the year coming through mid-January, around 99.5. Today's high, 99.7, so nice push up here for the DXY. We do have, of course, weakness in metals, or at least, you know, lots of oscillation in these metals for sure. We also have this Middle Eastern tensions on watch as well. Just a couple different catalysts here on watch for the DXY. Just heard comments from Fed Schmidt, who says, quote, "I'll miss Fed Chair Powell." Fed Schmidt, one of two Feds we've had speaking so far today. We're going to get Kashkari later today. I'm going to check the time on that. Kashkari coming through at 11:45 a.m. So Fed Schmidt has been really hawkish. Other than this, you know, this comment about Fed Chair Powell, he's generally said inflation's too hot. We can leave rates where they are. He does not want to cut rates, and that has been made emphatically clear. We also had comments from Feds Williams. Feds Williams, kind of more neutral, just saying that didn't see too much inflation from the second round of tariffs. Speaking of inflation and rates, 95.5% of participants are expecting that we're going to have rates held in place. Now, this is obviously pretty significant, but it is a bit of a decline here. 1 day ago, 96.4% of participants expecting rates held. 1 week ago, 97.5. So as we get, you know, we're inching at this point closer to that March 18th meeting in just over 2 weeks. Slowly but surely, these odds loosening a little bit in terms of the chances of rates being held at this meeting. Back to you.
We actually moved the other direction. We were almost 98% yesterday.
Oh boy.
Whatever, we ain't getting no cut. It is what it is. We know exactly what's happening in that meeting. And it's a whole lot of nothing. Maybe we'll get a bit of a change in the sentiment regarding the labor market, but I think that's going to be about it. So Intel came to VWAP, NCLH didn't, so that's the one that got there. But immediately, like the first, like once it gets into that 10 to 15 cent range, immediately catching some buyers. It is noon, so you're going to be in sometimes tighter consolidation ranges. So scalping off VWAP is going to make a little bit of sense here. So still in that. I did not get NCLH on that last pop. So I'm just going to cancel it here. I'm not done with it, but VWAP obviously is trending down. So I'm not just going to leave the order there. It did go all the way back to the low without retracing to the volume weighted average price for the first time. So I might have to look for a different entry style to get back into this one. Unfortunately. So yeah, not looking good for the travel names. I am double checking to see if NCLH is, I was kind of hoping, well, one didn't get to VWAP, the other could, but they're both languishing down 6%. It's not looking good overall. But all we have is Fed talk today. So they're talking now. I'm not going to overreact or want to jump into too many positions that are trading away from our spot zone. I'm not going to chase the move down. So far, so good.
We ain't chasing either, my guy. We're just putting up numbies. There's another bid on the TQs. Came back in. That's NVIDIA. Here's the TQs right now. We got a nice bid on NVIDIA as well. There it goes, nicely cooking to the upside again as the professor just sat back in beside me right now. So get ready for some lessons in just about 10 minutes. You're going to see some of that going on. But there it is again, man. My hat's off to you guys. If you're trading the futures, got some snipey actions down there right now. Nice move there. And then 250 in the money on NVIDIA as that just continues to bleed. The #1 trade today on Trader TV Live for me right there off of the sticky note. And just believe in your own work, man. And I really feel like I should have believed a little bit more on the 139 Palantir level. But those of you that are on it with me are on it with me. So hopefully you're there as well. All right, man. Page 2 gets us what's for lunch. And it's been a good day, man. I mean, yesterday the chicken was pretty dry, but it was right now, yeah, Sharif, I got to get to it first. See, I've introduced this new flag thing to the show now, and now that's all that everyone wants to know. What flag do we have right here? Well, today is the flag of another North American behemoth. It is Canada. Yesterday we had the United States.
It ain't gonna be poutine.
You know, today we've got. Okay, Joe, hold on a second. I got to do this.
They don't do poutine.
You don't want to get poutine from there. I mean, it would be way too.
By the time they get
well, they got to prepare it, right? So.
By the time you get it here, it wouldn't be that good.
Yeah. And today, of course, the very Canadian meal of meatballs. Okay. Meatballs with grilled seasoned veg, mac and cheese. So there you go. And chef's choice salad. So mac and cheese, meat the ball.
It's not Canadian, but it's delicious.
Yeah, and a chef's choice salad,
meatballs, though.
Is, yeah, meatballs, is just salad.
Yeah,
so the meatballs, I give it 2 thumbs down. And we'll wait to see.
You can't make meatballs bad. Well, it's hard to screw up a meatball, man.
Really? Yeah, when you're Italian, there's a little bit higher standard, so I do give you a pass on that one, Neil. But we'll wait to see what happens with the meatballs. I hope they're great.
The meatballs are about to saw.
Really
I'm not expecting gourmet food. I'm just saying it's difficult to have it be bad.
I don't know, man. I've had a lot of bad meatballs.
The chicken is super dry, but with the meatballs, you're not overcooking it, so there's no flavor.
Yeah, we'll join us at 2 p.m. and we'll judge what.
I would give my judgment at the lesson of the day at 2 o'clock or at noon every single day. I'll let you guys know. And yesterday I actually gave the chicken like a solid, I think it was like a 7.2 or something.
Good, man.
But it was mostly because of the quantity.
I'm glad you're doing that. I'm glad that we brought joy to everybody and created a new segment, and it is What's for Lunch. And you could join Neil on his lesson of the day where he will be rating the meatballs. Yesterday's chicken, for me, we must have different standards. I was a lot lower than a 7 on yesterday's chicken. I could barely cut through it. Okay.
Oh, mine wasn't that bad.
Okay, yeah, see, that's the thing. So if it was good, that was good. But, okay, guys, it looks like we're about to get stopped out here as the futures just go lower. We're still in NVIDIA. NVIDIA is a $3 winner right now off the sticky note. The only level that actually hit for me on the note today is the 180 short. And here we go, Joe and Sharif. This is what it was early. There's 180, 180, 180. Bang. We should have reloaded it right there. We did not. And there it goes. We're right into pre-market lows again here on NVDA. So let me just tap out one more piece here at 177, and we'll see if we can get that out. But here we go, man. We're in the money on the TQs. We'll see if we can, okay, here we go. We'll see if we can get a little bit of a movement here as we're starting to blast a little bit higher. Let me put another piece out here at 14. There it goes. We're out at 14. Let's go back over to Neil and figure this out. Only 4 minutes left. We're long the futures and we're short Intel.
Only 4 minutes to go, but trust me, there's lots of opportunities out there that are still moving. I do have eyeballs on some of those small cappers, but nothing too crazy just yet. I jumped right back. We wicked out on Intel at the volume weighted average price. So just jump right back into the same trade and giving it to the local high. Still believe in it. As long as we're holding underneath VWAP, I still believe in this trade. And then going back over to NCLH, I'd like for it to play a little bit higher, but I'm running out of patience with it. Another lower high just got put in where it's touching these. It's just basically going right down into the low of the day. So for 2 days in a row, this has looked pretty weak, and I want to continue trend essentially all day long, if at all possible. One name that I know the visualizer has had a few names up there that we haven't necessarily gotten to, and apologies for that. You can't really catch them all, but one of them that we haven't mentioned whatsoever with regard to the market, Microsoft. I feel like, okay, so I'm going to do this for Microsoft and quickly just show you this. If we lose the trend line here, I mean, the market's trending down. If we lose trend line on a mag name like this, A, that's going to be bad for the market. B, I think you can have a retracement back at least into a prior low. And then one last one for you, which is IBIT. Maybe the strongest bounce happened in Bitcoin, but it goes right into prior high. If it breaks out the top, I like a continuation here. But this is also a potential trend breakdown into the volume weighted average price where it's already doing so. So this is what happened yesterday at this exact same, maybe not the exact same time, but it was pretty darn close to it, where it was coming into a trend break right at the end of the day and consolidating. If it breaks the high, then I need to see it lose that prior support, and then I would jump into the short. First things first.
All right, 2 minutes left. You guys know that we got reloaded. Yeah, there's that too. And reloaded right there on the NASDAQ, as now we're starting to bump a little bit higher. We're just taking a few out here, but we can now hold on. Like, this could be a really good one as we break higher right now. Let's go. Next offer into the 40s here. We're at 38. We'll see if we get that, and then we just hopefully come back after the gym and we see that this is absolutely rocketed. We're going to wait to see. I mean, we'd love to get VWAP. If we can get everything out at VWAP today, oh boy, would that sort of cap out the day here for myself. But we're going to hope to get that. If we do, then great. But here we go. We're waiting for 4640s again. Maybe we get that. As I said, would love to do that. But that's going to have to come quickly because I'm a little nervous now. I mean, the trade could last a while, but would like to see a little bit of a bounce right now just to get us back up here. And there, okay, here we go. And the reason why I said that, like, I want to play the momentum, right? Like, I want this momentum to continue upside as we wait for some 38s to come in. Maybe that's being a little bit too exact. That's, well, whatever. 36, 37, 38, all the same to me. Let's just see if we get an upside play happening for us. It looks like it's trying to figure it out right now. But so far, so good on this rebound play there. And the missed trade for me, and it's not a missed trade, it's just one that we had and we had stopped out on it. Again, and I want to just tell you, like, we've completely put discipline like right back on the forefront here. You can take as many trades as you want, but at the end of the day, if you're trying to make some money, you got to stop out when things aren't right. And right there, we did get stopped out there, even though we did like the idea. It's 11 o'clock right now. Only position we have on NVIDIA short, but I have literally 1% left. Like, if this breaks, here, we'll just do this together. If this breaks 178, then we can get it. Our stop on this was 1.8. Like, when we took these trades, our stop was this high right there. This one was light, then we saw it run up. 180 right there, 180.60 was our out for these reloads. So that trade right there on the reload was 60 cents worth of risk to give us $3 on the low end. So we'll stop out of this if we take out 178. And if we do, like, I want this thing to take out 178. That would be awesome because right now, man, we have a hell of a position on the futures and we just getting ready to get that 38 level there. So far, so good here. As anything you want to say before we wrap this thing up?
Well, Bitcoin's trying to break that. It hasn't done it yet, but we have this consolidation break, which probably will happen in the first couple of minutes. I'm sure Joe's probably looking at IBIT as well, as he usually does. Small cappers with Sharif. We'll be back to see how the meatballs do in about an hour or so. And then back at 2 o'clock at the end of the day, another good session, another green one to start the month.
Yeah, man.
But there's a lot of time left in the day. Remember, everything turned on its head at 3:10 yesterday just because of one headline from Iran. So keep your ear to the ground. That's what we're here for. Dare's at the desk.
Stay long.
Go get them.
Yeah.